Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Lots to get to today. Maybe some surprise NFL trades that we weren't expecting. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But we get it started with a moment, Pearl, that you had been waiting for. A moment that you believed was going to be goosebumps.
Yep.
A seminal moment, really, in the history of sports, and that would be LeBron James and Bronny taking the court together. The first time a father-son had ever done that in the NBA. How did it live up to the hype?
It would have been awesome. It would have been awesome. LeBron drives in, kicks it out to his son, three-point shot, in and out. I realized the story was missing a made basket, and we still need that made basket. Bronny also had almost a follow-up layup off a rebound. Yeah, no, it didn't. It was flat. It was nothing. There was nothing to see there.
But why did it need a basket? I thought it was all just about the father-son of it all.
In my fantasy, it was an alley-oop from Bronny to LeBron, or vice versa. He needs to score in the NBA so we can move on with our lives. I don't think 0 for 2 is going to do it.
Okay, so that was one of the big stories last night. Again, we've got a lot to get to today, but Bronny checks into the game with about 2 minutes left to go in the first half, something like that. It was funny because it was actually a surprise to J.J. Redick. According to Redick, he didn't understand why the crowd got so loud. And he goes, then I realized what was happening, which was a little interesting because I guess the coach didn't know the substitution patterns, but we'll get into all that. It was a big win for the Lakers, by the way. We should mention the outcome. But, yeah, he checks in. The Griffeys are there. Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. But that was the moment. You're not getting more. I think that was it.
No, you're going to get a highlight. That first of all, there was nothing. NBA, you need a visual. You need some video. Like, you need more. I don't know what game is going to come. You need a basket.
I know, but Perloff, he might not be good enough to.
He's got to score one basket, Maggie.
It
might take a month. It might take a month. Actually, you know what?
Here's the question, though.
Yeah.
He might need a basket, but are you sure LeBron's going to have to be on the court for that basket?
Yes.
Because,
definitely.
No, I know, but you were going to keep manufacturing more of these moments?
Yes. Why? I mean, first of all, the season has about 14 months left before it's over. You have plenty of wiggle room here, Maggie, to play around with this. Maybe don't do it during the in-season tournament. No, don't you think? Did you get your highlight last night? I don't think you did.
No, but I thought the whole thing was the highlight was just him checking into the game. I was told the sentimental part of this was just the Bronny made it, right? It was that he got drafted. Well, we all kind of raised an eyebrow at that. And then it was, he's going to check into the game and they're going to play together and share court. And I think that's kind of all you can ask. The kid's not ready.
Well, they tried to. Both teams knew there was going to be a LeBron to Bronny pass, right? That was coming. They were working on that.
Yep.
And they got the play they wanted, and it didn't go. The basket didn't go in. So now we need one with a basket. We need a highlight. That's I demanded. This is a TikTok era, Maggie. We need a video. We can't have them checking in is kind of cool, but you need a little more.
Okay, but they've tried to make this thing as close to a movie as possible. It actually is real life. It actually is sports. This is why we love sports, is because it's not scripted. It's because we don't know what's going to happen. Not everything gets the fairy tale ending. I mean, this is as close as you can possibly get. This whole thing, this Truman Show of a situation for Bronny, I mean, they've gotten it as far as it can go. Now he's got to go to the G League. He's got to get better, and then maybe you get a good highlight in a couple months. How about that?
No, of course not. I mean, that would be insane to send them to G League with 0 points. They're not going to do that.
What's the difference? 0, 2? What does it matter?
That's a massive, all-encompassing difference. They need to get him in. I don't know how you're going to get him to score. Like, it seems like his only weapon is a three-point shot. They play the Suns on Friday, so we'll get the basket then.
Okay. 855-212-4227. Yes, EJ, you have a point. You're saying yes. We're waiting for something. Okay. Well, while we're doing that, we will. Here's the thing. The sentimentality of it. Mm-hmm. That's the part of it that was supposed to get everybody. A little catch in the throat.
Man, that didn't happen.
It did not happen. It did not feel that sentimental, to be honest. LeBron breaking the all-time scoring record actually felt more sentimental. And I think there were some revealing moments last night about what this was really about. And I think LeBron was very candid about this, whether he realized he was being so candid or not, which was basically that he feels something that a lot of parents feel, especially those of us who work a lot, which is I feel guilty that I wasn't there for a lot of the things for him growing up. And I'm trying to combine my two loves in life, my work and my son. And I ask you, Perloff, because I've always asked this from the very beginning, who is this really for? It was about LeBron wanting to make this moment because everyone kept saying what a great achievement this is for the James family. But then we all admit that Bronny, he cut the corner. It's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. But corners were cut. So what's the achievement here? It's LeBron's achievement. And the more we just recognize that, that's why I think last night was enough. We don't actually need to see the highlight or Bronny score or LeBron pass to Bron and score. We participated in this enough. This is about LeBron. It's about his achievement of being on the court with his son, not about what happens next.
Counterpoint.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be cool to see Bronny hit a jump shot in the NBA? Like, why would you not want to see that? I understand. Like, who cares? Everyone knows. There's nobody who's thinking, oh, my God, Bronny earned his way. Like, we all know that part of it is a joke. But who cares? Like, it'd be cool to watch. It'd be a fun 5-minute moment in a marathon of an NBA season. Like, what's the harm?
Well, because we got a whole season to go. So
right. So
does it have to happen the second game?
Yes, it better happen soon because I can't stay up late to watch these Pacific Coast games. Like, it better happen the next game or the game after that. It's probably going to be against the Wizards or somebody. Yes, it has to happen so we can move on with our lives.
Can we
and no, I totally disagree. This was not enough. Like, you don't think they're going to do the same thing in the next game? Of course they are.
And so he scores a bucket.
Then we can move on.
And then he can
go
to
the end of the bench or the G League.
Okay. Let's hear from LeBron James. He said it was a perfect night. Let's hear that.
Everything was just great today for me. Everything was great. From the moment I woke up, I saw my daughter before she went to school, and went to work, saw my son at work, get to the game, and just everything, man. Our whole family. It's a great moment for Laker Nation in the way we played tonight. Hopefully we continue to play that type of brand basketball all throughout the year, and then for our family, it was a big moment.
Yeah, it was a big moment because LeBron, thinking back to 2003, when he was, young player in the league, and Bronny was a little baby.
I was very anxious. I was very excited about the possibility and the moment of actually being an NBA player because it was something I always dreamed about. And to be out there on the floor with other NBA players was a dream come true for me.
Okay. How about Bronny's side of things? Here's Bronny James on his thoughts right before he checked into the game.
Trying to focus on going in as a rookie and not trying to mess up. But, I totally did feel the energy and, I appreciate the Laker Nation for, showing the support for me and my dad.
All right. So, for them, Pearl, they're saying this is good. I feel like they got what they wanted out of this. You didn't get what you wanted out of it as a fan, but it seems like LeBron and Bronny are pretty satisfied with how this went.
Okay. I just can't imagine that this is it. Like, there has to be a basket, though, right? If they do something like... Wait, so let me ask you a question, point blank. Do you think they'll play him for the same put him in the same time in the next game, Friday night against the Suns?
Probably. I don't. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they gotta get points. He can't just go down the G League or the end of the bench with no points, unless you're going to keep him. Here's the other thing too: is he going to the G League this year? I don't know what the latest reporting is.
I would think so. How far are we going to extend this thing out here? You signed him to a deal that basically no second round rookie would ever get. Was it 3 years or 4 years and about $8 million? That is not the average. I know the NBA salaries are bananas, but that's normally pick 55 doesn't usually get $8 million guaranteed. So we've done it all. He got drafted. He had the moment. He got the contract. He got the debut last night. Sold out. The Griffies are there, which, by the way, I know that's a nice moment too, and I don't know who set that up or if the Griffies just wanted to go, Pearl, but that's tough for Bronny. The dude's got enough pressure on him already by being LeBron James's kid, by having the path cleared out for him in this way. He's had a heart condition that he had to overcome. All these things that he's are kind of stacked against him, if you will, or that just add more pressure. And now you got Ken Griffey. Who thinks he's going to be Ken Griffey? The best case scenario is that he has a nice NBA career, right? not a superstar, all-star. Ken Griffey is like one of your big inspirations for your life as a sports fan, right?
I wouldn't go that far, but I think Bronny, like the goal is, I'm thinking a little more short term. Like I want to see this dude hit an NBA basket, not hit 512 whatever career home runs he has.
Yeah.
I think you're overthinking this whole thing. Like, can't you just have a cute little thing here that is kind of harmless?
Well, to your point, how long is it going to take for him to get it back?
Well, that's the thing. Like, are we going to do this for 3 weeks?
Well, okay, so there actually is a little bit of a parallel between this and whether Bronny has to stay in the NBA to, like, before he goes to the G League to score a basket.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to the G League. Are you sure about that? Wasn't there some talk that Rich Paul wouldn't allow that to happen?
I think they backed off on that a little bit. There has to be some concessions made here at some point, but there's a little bit of a parallel if anyone was watching the first game, and that was a real doozy. But there kind of is a parallel moment. So the Celtics are blowing out the Knicks last night, and they're on pace to break the record for most three-pointers ever hit in a single NBA game, okay? With 8 minutes left to go, they're stuck on 29 threes, and then they miss the next 13 three-pointers. You can't make it up. They got so tight, or their legs weren't under them, or whatever. They are blowing the Knicks out, but the whole game became about whether or not they could hit this next three and break the record, and everyone was catching iron. They were airballing. It was a comedy of errors, and it became one of the storylines from the game. It's a little like the Bronny thing. How long are we going to wait for him to score a bucket? Because we were waiting for the Celtics to break the record last night, and it became the most frustrating, anticlimactic thing for 8 minutes. They could not hit a three. You see the parallel there?
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. That it just feels like, I think the bottom line is it feels like an exhibition, right? Like it doesn't feel serious, but that's the NBA right now. Like they added in the in-season tournament to try and create some drama. The season's just too long. Like you got to like do things like Bronny, and you got to do things like try and hit a 3-point record. Otherwise, I mean, honestly, how do you engage in a game one of 82? That's why I think it's fine. Just keep on trotting Bronny out there. What difference does it make?
Well, they won the game. And
it doesn't, but that means, that doesn't mean anything. It means 0.0.
Yeah, I mean, it's one game out of 82.
Right. It's one game out of 82. I do think the NBA has a regular season problem. I think they all know it. I think the commissioner knows it. They're trying to figure out something. Too. Yeah, baseball, college basketball certainly does. That this season feels like a league more than ever. Like, okay, wake me up when the playoffs start. All this is like sort of these teams are feeling out their lineups, and that's why I'm like, you might as well put Bronny out there. It feels like extended preseason. It really does, and I don't know what they do about that. But doesn't this feel like they started the regular season, but it still feels like preseason because of the two things you just said? Bronny is artificially elevated to the roster, and the Celtics are like, we don't care. Let's just go for the record.
The other part, I actually was just thinking about this, and can we throw a poll up, BJ, about Bronny and LeBron? Does he have to score a basket before maybe going to the G League, or for this thing to actually, I feel like it happened, like we saw it, but you just made me think about something, and I see you guys on the phones, and we'll get to you. What professional or college sports season is actually the right length?
Wow.
Probably college football, I think, is the only one, and even we're going to get more games for that.
You don't think NFL has it figured out?
But the NFL keeps adding games.
They go in the wrong direction.
That's what I think, too. 16 was fine for me.
All right, Mark Cuban. I just think that.
But the fat hogs get slaughtered? Comment?
Yeah. You talk about the NFL, and you end up regretting that because they will. Now, I mean, listen, the NFL, first of all, college football is growing even faster than the NFL. How many games are they playing right now? Georgia's going to end up playing 19 games this year.
But they're adding playoff games. Like,
I'm just saying the elite.
NFL's adding playoff and regular season. The NFL, and everyone's getting hurt. I mean,
the NFL's to what, 17 games? Georgia's probably going to play 17 games this year. So college is growing fast too. Like, what are they? Yeah, they could.
No, because the most they'll play is 13 through the SEC championship game, and then the most they'll play after that is 3 if they don't get a bye.
Yeah, it'd be 3 if you're a lower seed.
Okay, so 16.
Yeah, so 16, but they could be playing 15, really.
Yeah.
Few teams will play
Okay, they're
16.
only up to 13 with the SEC title game. Okay.
Yes, most teams play 12.
Plays 12 games in the regular season.
Yeah.
I
But
think
then aren't there
college.
4 playoff rounds?
So
Because there's 12 teams.
I think wouldn't it be 3?
There's a first round, then there's a there's a semifinal, then there's a bye, and then there's a championship.
I thought it was like first round, then quarterfinals.
Oh, then semifinals.
You go to 8.
Yeah. Okay. It's a lot. So maybe college still has too many. And I thought college was as close as possible to the perfect
games,
season.
So that's still different. We're talking about regular season, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the whole thing. Like who's...
Because the NFL problem is there are more regular season games, and we're seeing worse players playing. We're seeing backup quarterbacks.
Totally.
The quality of play was terrible last year.
I mean, how many aircasts are out there this year?
Right.
Well, there's a combination, too. It's that you play so many games now, nobody practices. Or the NBA. I mean, you're wearing your Sixers hat today. We find out yesterday, not only did we already knew Joel Embiid was never playing any back-to-backs, heaven forbid, but he's not going to play now for the first week of the season, and we don't even know why. Knee injury management? What is that? That's words together.
Well, yeah, it's from a meniscus tear in January.
He played the whole...
He played in the Olympics, I know. But the Olympics is an exhibition. Yeah, the whole thing is weird. The NBA has definitely a regular season problem. Even if the NFL is expanding, it's still 17 compared to 82.
Oh, I know. But, 82, everyone would be mush. Can't do it.
I think football is obviously the urgency of the regular season. Now, college football's urgency has gone down with the 12-team playoff. There's no doubt about it. I think the sport overall is healthy, but you're never going to have that Alabama-LSU game of the century in October. It's like NCAA basketball. Now, all anyone cares about is March Madness, which is great. It makes a lot of money, but it has watered down the regular season, right? I mean, these are certain sports where it's all about the playoffs. And the NBA is so much like that right now, and they know it. That's why it could be the only thing I wanted to watch last night was Bronny get in there. And now I need to hit him. It's like an itch I have to scratch. I need to see him hit a basket, Maggie. I need him to score. I don't care if it's a foul shot. He cannot go down the G League with 0 points.
Does anyone else feel this way? I do not at all. I'm like, we saw it. Get it out.
It. No, that was it for me.
That was it? That's all you get is a missed three, one missed three?
We get to check it in.
Who cares if he's not good? He's there. He's already there. You went through all this trouble to get him drafted and get him a uniform and do all this stuff. You just had so much work to get to this point. Then we're just going to say, all right, that was it? A missed shot? I could go out there and miss a shot.
I mean, what did Bronny say? Bronny said that the only thing he wanted to hear was he wanted to hear his name called. That's what he said.
For the draft.
Right. Yeah. So he wanted to be on the NBA court. He wanted to be on an NBA team, wanted to get a jersey. All right. I saw that.
What if he retires with 0.0 points per game?
Well, he's not going to retire.
I'm just saying, you need a basket out of this kid, and you need it ASAP.
You're going to get it. But why do you need it? I guess my question is, why is the urgency now? Like, what? Like, because, I mean, he's going to score at some point in his career. Like,
Perloff wants to check out of the Lakers for a
No, I just think, I mean, I'm not sure what his basketball future holds. There's urgency here. Like,
well, once LeBron hangs it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I would not wait too long. In 4 years, I don't know. He does kind of look like an NBA player. I saw him hitting threes before the game. He's beautiful form.
There's one quick thing. I was watching the game last night, and my fiance walks in, and she's seeing them take the picture with the Griffies, and the first thing she says is, "Why is he so small?"
Uh-oh.
I'm like, oh, no.
I know. Only LeBron makes Ken Griffey Jr. look small, though.
By the way, Ken Griffey Jr., exactly. I think you were talking about Bronny. But,
Bronny.
Yeah.
No, I know.
But Ken Griffey Jr., I'm like, who's that little kid who's hugging LeBron? That's Ken Griffey.
In my mind, Ken Griffey Jr. is huge, and then he's like tall and big, and he's barrel-chested because it's a baseball player and all of that. But, then you see him next to LeBron. I'm like, man, I guess Ken Griffey Jr. was smaller than I thought. I interviewed him in person. I thought
he's a normal-sized person.
I interviewed him and his dad. It's great.
I never thought
I feel like I got the better end of that.
Not to body shame, but Ken Griffey Jr. entered the league at 17 with that gigantic rear end. He's one of those guys who just all the power is in,
we know
like
the
Juan
secret.
Soto. Yeah, he's built like a great baseball slugger. But that's a lot different build than LeBron.
If you're going to be a good baseball player, got to have a big butt.
Yeah, that's true, right?
It's the rules.
All the great Soto and Giancarlo Stanton and Shohei's built like a basketball player a little bit.
He's fast, too. It's a little.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
He's got a lot of power. 855-212-4227. Everything coming up Lakers, I guess. LeBron and Bronny get their moment, but Perloff's not satisfied. What about you? 855-212-4227.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening. Because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of Shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Boyd, Mississippi. Learn more at depend.com.
Okay, I will.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes.
EJ's talking big, saying this year's the chance, but the Celtics showed up and led the dance. Jason's dunking hard, Jalen's running wild, while EJ's sitting there looking like a sad child. Peter's nowhere to be seen, it's no surprise, just like the Knicks, he's dodging working alibis. Oh, EJ and Knicks are out of luck. Boston rolled over and left them stuck. Peter's missing work, but that's no news. Just like your Knicks, he keeps dodging the blues. They traded away Dante Rangles out the door, didn't sign Hartenstein, now they've wrecked the core. Carl Anthony Towns, that guy's way too soft. Knicks fans thought they'd soared, but they've already coughed. And where's Peter? Nowhere near the scene, still hiding from work like he's part of the team. Oh, EJ and Knicks just can't compete. Tatum and Brown had him beat on repeat. Peter's missing again, it won't even show. Just like the Knicks, he's a no-show, you know. EJ's dreaming big, but the team's gone bust. Peter's out there too, leaving all in the dust. Knicks fans are crying, looking for a win, but Peter and his schedule, man, they're paper thin. Oh, EJ, the Knicks are breaking your heart, but Peter's breaking records, ducking from the start. They broke up the squad, and now they're down, while Peter's still coasting just like cats frown. The Knicks are falling, but one thing's true, Peter Belotti's missing, just like that W. EJ's talking big, saying this year's the chance, but the Celtics showed up and led the dance. Jason's dunking hard, Jalen's running wild, while EJ's sitting there looking like a sad child. Peter's nowhere to be seen, it's no surprise, just like the Knicks, he's dodging working
45
alibis.
seconds
Oh, EJ and Knicks are out of luck. Boston rolled over and left them stuck. Peter's missing work, but that's no news. Just like your Knicks, he keeps dodging the blues. They traded away Dante Rangles out the door, didn't sign Hartenstein, now they've wrecked
30
the core.
seconds remaining.
Carl Anthony Towns, that guy's way too soft. Knicks fans thought they'd soared, but they've already coughed. And where's Peter? Nowhere near the scene, still hiding from work like he's part of the team. Oh, EJ and Knicks just can't compete. Tatum and Brown had him beat on repeat. Peter's missing again, it won't even show. Just like the Knicks, he's a no-show, you know. EJ's dreaming big, but the team's gone bust. Peter's out there too, leaving all in the dust. Knicks fans are crying, looking for a win, but Peter and his schedule, man, they're paper thin. Oh, EJ, the Knicks are breaking your heart, but Peter's breaking records, ducking from the start. They broke up the squad, and now they're down, while Peter's still coasting just like cats frown. The Knicks are...
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. As we are wont to do. We just had a very advanced talk about analytics in the break. No, we're not talking about OPS or WAR or VORP. We're talking about what are the odds of getting hit by lightning twice.
They seem steeper than getting hit by lightning once, but you guys keep telling me the odds are exactly the same.
How did this debate start? I remember
yesterday.
5.6%, but what was it?
Onside kick returns.
Okay, so every time the Bucks tried multiple onside kicks on Monday night against the Ravens. Actually, it worked out very poorly because the fact that they hit one meant that Chris Godwin was still in the game at the end and he got hurt.
Yep.
But if they had gone for, I think they tried 2. Every time you try an onside kick, there's a 5.6% chance it will work. And Maggie doesn't buy it. And you have valid reasons. You're saying that it's not the same situation.
Well, it doesn't feel like a roulette wheel to me every single time, where everything is exactly the same. There's a human element that comes into this that makes it so hard to recover an onside kick to begin with. To me, the odds would seem steeper that you would actually recover 2 in the same game because the defense could make adjustments. The guy could kick it a different type of way. It doesn't feel like a roulette wheel to me where every spin is in theory the same.
Well, I would say
that's my brain.
I just think there's a very slim chance of hitting any of them. So, right, there's still the second onside kick or third in this case would have a 95% chance of failure. So It's usually going to fail. But I'm not sure I agree with you. I think that it has the same slim chance that you usually have.
So Phil is here to mansplain math to me. Phil, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Actually, today is my birthday.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
You know what I want for my birthday?
A Randall Cunningham's signature jersey, Eagles tickets, a lunch date with a Philly fanatic.
It doesn't have to be signed. Just
you want it
my
back.
jersey and my care package today, please. It's my birthday.
Wait,
okay? So Phil wants it back. EJ, can we make a note? We're going to send it to you, Phil, today after the show.
Wait, Phil, I wasn't. So you've given up on us getting a signature. Okay, I didn't know that was official. We could definitely send it back.
I gave up on you. We'll figure something else out.
You didn't give up on Maggie. That's accurate.
No, because it was with you.
It's not my fault. Randall Cunningham is elusive. He was elusive as a player, and he's elusive as a retired player.
Couldn't bring him down as a player. Can't get him out.
But Maggie, you are not too far off. It's not a roulette wheel. It's a craps table. Basically, in order to make it a little more even, let's just call it 5% odds. 5% are 20 to 1 odds. So basically, you have a 20-sided die. We're going Dungeons and Dragons here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
categories.
Maggie's thinking 2 in the same game. If you make the bet before the game of having 2 onside kicks, that's the same equivalent of throwing 2 of those 20-sided die and both landing on 1. Now, when you roll 1, that's just a regular 5% odds. So that's the thing. That's a variable chance. Actually, someone mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah.
It'd be the exact same, 5% every
Wait, Phil, this
time.
is starting to feel like sports talk radio homework. You're right. Everyone was right. I was wrong.
I'll explain it. It's like
you just did. What else did you explain?
No, I get it.
If you roll both die at the same time, basically it's a 400 to 1 chance. That is what you were thinking, but it's not. It's just rolling 1. Now, getting struck by lightning is what, 1 in 2 million? You'd have to roll 6 dice, 5 of them 20-sided die, 1 of them a 6-sided die, roll them all at the exact same time, and have them all land on 1. That is the same odds of getting struck by lightning. So it's a lot steeper odds of getting struck by lightning than it is for landing 2 onside kicks.
Man, do you and Perloff want to go sit somewhere at some kind of math conference or something, and I'll go watch the game?
I want to take Phil to Vegas with me. Yeah, Phil, can you count cards?
Well, I'm actually, I would love to do that, but I have really bad luck and really bad poker face. So, I know the math. I can do the math, but you need more than the math to do that.
Yeah. It starts with thank you, Phil. Yeah, it starts with
happy birthday, Phil. We will get your jersey to you. Our gift to you is returning your jersey with it not signed by Randall Cunningham.
I'm obsessed with the ability to count cards, and I've read a lot of books where there are card counters. Like, that's advanced math, and it's very similar principles to what we're talking about.
Now, Phil and I could just combine our powers. Because I could be the front man. I just can't count the cards.
You think you could be a great player in Vegas? Yeah, right.
Poker face. What am I thinking about right now?
The Bills winning the Super Bowl.
I know the odds on that.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Closer. I'm sorry.
Wait, that
Glenn
is
Powell.
Who I thought the name was Glenn Howell yesterday.
Close enough.
So you think that you could handle knowing you're cheating in Las Vegas and they're watching you like a hawk? You think you would keep your cool, counting cards, knowing the deck is heavy?
Totally.
No way.
No chance. And I say that for somebody who has no chance either.
Well,
I think anyone in this room would fail in that position.
Not Nico.
Listen,
Nico might be the best. You don't know what that dude's thinking.
No, they're going to see Nico coming a mile away. You think big bad Bruno comes over to me and is like, you counting cards? I'd be like, no, Bruno, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, Mag.
You think I'm going to leave there with one hand?
Maggie, I actually was at a blackjack table with you. You had $200. You're up $200 after 8 hands. You're like, I'm out.
I walked away. I walked directly and bought a backpack. It was a great day. Sully couldn't believe it. He's like, how dare you get up at the table when you're winning? I was like, because I want to buy a backpack. See you
also,
guys.
too, like your lack of interest in advanced math makes me think that you're not the ideal person in a card counting scheme.
That's why I can only be the front man. I can't be. Yeah, I'm the one who has to wear the buzzer or have the earpiece in. I can't actually do the math.
You don't. Well, yeah. I mean, if you had a buzzer or an earpiece, you're going to get your hands broken in
but see,
Vegas.
I'm calm and
What on earth are you talking about? Like, why do you think you're? Anyway, I've never seen you be calm.
Well, when I'm running through an airport, when we have an hour to get to the flight, things like that.
I mean, you got mad at a Forrest Gump movie that doesn't exist. So you controlling your emotions is not a thing.
I was really convinced. Anywho.
The commercial, by the way, I saw again. I paid attention to it. There is nothing in that video that suggests Forrest Gump.
It's because I kept watching it with the sound off.
The first shot is Tom Hanks in like a curly afro wig from the 70s.
Yeah, holding
Holding
a baby in the 70s. Yeah.
I thought they just gave him a bad wig. Come on, guys.
You think the makeup for Forrest Gump got worse in 2024 than better?
I just thought maybe he had taken away that bubblegum shrimp hat and maybe they gave him something else. You know Hollywood will ruin anything. I just was predicting that they were going to do what they always do, which is to mess everything up in sequels and other things.
I mean, a sliding doors Forrest Gump world. I would watch that movie. I think, by the way, if people in LA heard that segment, they'd be like, you know what? It's a lot better than this piece of garbage we're about to put out.
Piss her off.
Yeah. That being said, Maggie, you'd watch a Forrest Gump sliding doors sequel, wouldn't you? Hey, what are you, crazy? Who would not watch that movie?
I love that movie. I don't think as many people love it as we think. I think there's a lot of people who don't like that movie. I don't understand it. I think it's a great movie. Extremely political, though. Bookish is here with headlines.
Forrest Gump.
It's wildly political.
Which way? No, it's not. Forrest Gump?
I've got some literature in my car. Yeah.
Wait, is it far left or far right? I don't even know.
It's far right.
Oh, God. Jeez.
Ruining
everything fun, Miss Poker Face.
I took a film and politics class in college just to make this thing 100% nerd zone, and it's surprisingly right wing. It's not a judgment. It's a great movie.
Okay. Get us some headlines because I don't want the image of Forrest having the braces come off his legs, running around. Run, Forrest, run.
You can keep it. It's a great movie.
Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. This Yankee-Dodger World Series, a great reminder of baseball's past, but we've lost part of that history. Fernando Valenzuela passing away yesterday in an LA hospital at the age of 63. We don't know a cause yet, but Valenzuela did leave the Dodgers Spanish language broadcast booth before this postseason for health reasons. Fernando Mania happened in 1981 when a 20-year-old Valenzuela started 8-0 with a 0.50 ERA, including 5 shutouts. He would then become the first pitcher to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young in the same season. Far from all of that, Shohei Ohtani's 50th home run ball just sold at auction yesterday for $4.39 million. That is the most ever paid for a sports ball, passing the $3 million that Todd McFarlane paid for Mark McGwire's 70th home run ball. This Ohtani ball put him in the 50-50 club, the first person to get there. Now, don't let LeBron and Bronny distract you. The real headline from last night in L.A. is former podcast co-host J.J. Redick winning his coaching debut.
I'm very fortunate that I have the staff that I have, and I have the players that I have that I get to coach. It's I'm very grateful for all of that.
He also thanked his doubters, naming Pete Bellotti for getting him the fuel to do this.
I was about to say, we have to have Bellotti hang out, the producer of the Amy Lawrence Show, before us, just to hear him talk about J.J. Redick. I thoroughly enjoy that. I've never seen anyone hate an athlete more.
Anthony Davis posted 36 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. LeBron scored 16. Bronny scored 0 in his 2.5 minutes, all in a 110-103 home win over the T-Wolves on NBA opening night. The James boys made history when Dad returned to the game with his son with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. It was the only PT that Bronny got. The Celtics smoked the Knicks 132-109 in Boston after raising their 18th championship banner. The lead as large as 35 for Jason Tatum and friends.
Last year was special, and tonight is kind of like we got to put it behind us. We won our ring, got our ring, raised the banner, and now it's on to the next season.
Tatum scored a game-high 37, hitting 8 of the Celtics' 29 threes. As you guys have mentioned, they only tied the NBA single-game mark because they missed their last 13 from downtown trying to get to 30. Chris Godwin will undergo surgery from Monday night's dislocated left ankle. He is likely done for the season, but Bucs head coach Todd Bowles leaving the door open for a very late return. Mike Evans, meanwhile, is out through their Week 11 bye with his hamstring injury. Deion Sanders expects Travis Hunter to have a bigger role this weekend against Cincinnati. They rested their two-way star in the second half last week against Arizona as he returned from a shoulder injury. And now our San Jose Sharks, they are still winless this season, now 0-5-2 after a 3-1 loss in Anaheim. On the flip side, the Jets 6-0 after a 3-2 win in St. Louis. Guys, back to you.
Bogish, thank you so much. I think maybe we should get another team. I feel like we're not helping their cause, San Jose.
I think they're not helping their cause.
Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
We tend to think that we have some very good mojo on the show. We like each other. It's fun. We have a good time. And for some reason, it's just not.
Let's pick a good team then.
Like, we're not vibing with the Sharks.
It's a new season. Who should we pick? Bogus, you're a big hockey
We're
guy.
not taking your route. I'm mad at the Eagles, so I'm going to be the fan of the number one team in football. How about those Chiefs? They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
I mean,
bandwagon.
He is McJesus. Let's do it. I've seen Connor McDavid live. Did you know that? I only talk about it every 3 days.
Yeah, that's when you learned hockey.
I'll take Connor Bedard. What do we do? Yeah.
You said the same thing this time last year.
I think we need a fun, young superstar to root for.
All right, spin the wheel, Connor. See what we land on.
I honestly, the way our show is, we'll probably be Toronto Maple Leafs fans.
Can we just rock with the Utah hockey squad?
Yeah. What's up with them?
Like, they can't be that great, right? They just moved, but I don't know.
They lost last night, but they're fine. I mean, they actually. I think the Coyotes were finished last year for them, like relatively okay. So they're not a bad team.
No, I think EJ, you just nailed it.
I think we missed an opportunity when we didn't jump on the Kraken. It happened before we moved to this time slot, but Kraken has always been the cool thing.
I feel like Utah Hockey Club is a second chance at a cool name.
Yeah, I think that's the way we got to go.
All right.
I feel bad for San Jose though.
Well, maybe they'll be better when we're not around.
True.
But also, too, there's like a lot more going on with Utah sports. Like the guy who owns the pro teams is buying all the expensive players to BYU now.
Yep.
What is going on? So now there's like
a high school player too, just signed this massive NIL deal.
That's the guy. Is he the guy who owns a hockey team who's paying for him?
Does he own the team or is he? He has. I think he might be the owner. If he's not the owner, he has some affiliation with the hockey club.
There's a gigantic Salt Lake City sports renaissance because of this dude.
And I think all his money is from Vivint, the security company. Isn't that where he?
Yeah, no, I think we need to get in on this Utah sports gravy train. Get some NIL cash.
Do we still have eligibility? Quickly, Bill is in Houston. Bill, you want to talk about Bronny James making his debut last night?
Yeah, I just, the whole thing puzzles me. I would think that a kid of LeBron James would be competitive enough to know that he has to earn a roster spot. He doesn't belong in the NBA. The Griffeys, it was funny because Ken Griffey was a hell of a player, and then, of course, his son was a Hall of Famer. The other one I thought of was Gordie Howe and Mark Howe. Of course, Gordie was immortal, and then Mark Howe was a damn good player, too. But Bronny doesn't belong at this level, and he's keeping somebody that does belong at this level from playing. So the sooner he goes to the G League and tries to developed his game, the better it would be, at least in my opinion.
But, Bill, don't you think he has to score a point before he goes down to the G League?
Let him shoot a technical.
That is so weak.
Amazing. Bill, what an idea. Send this one to Reddick. That LeBron, like, you get a technical and they send Bronny out to shoot the free throw.
But that's so much pressure to hit that technical.
Because you're all alone.
Yeah, it's like, I can't believe he even drew rim on that first three-pointer. There was so much pressure on him to hit that shot. I would have panicked.
Perloff would have sent that thing right over the backboard.
Oh, my God. I actually... I played the Globetrotters once. Have I ever told this story? And they're like, we're gonna give you one 3-point shot in front of 8,000 people. You know how scared I was and how hard that shot was to take?
What happened? What was the result?
Well, it turned out there was like helium in the ball or something, and when it flew over the backboard.
Those darn Harlem Globetrotters.
Drats, foiled again.
You were a Washington General for a day?
We weren't the Generals were on a break, and we called like the Northeast All-Stars.
Oh, boy, you couldn't even be the Generals.
It was in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I took a three. I actually totally missed it. Then I got to the free throw line. I was fouled. Good call. And some 7'7" guy blocked my free throw, and they let it go. I'm like, what are you doing here? Yeah, this is, you could not get it. There was, then
what
they
an outrage.
No, in reality, then they made me shoot with the ball that goes up in the, it was clearly a fake ball. So I didn't actually score. It was robbed.
And this is why you want Bronny to score so badly. This is about you.
This is totally about me. I've been at 0.0 before in my career. It's not a fun place to be.
Finally, 41 minutes into the show, we finally get the truth.
Oh, yeah. 3 months have you declared this was must-see TV and demanded tears. We finally get to the bottom of it.
I was a bench warmer in high school and college. Like, this is our time. You need a blowout. You need him in there. You need to get a pick so he can hit a shot and just relax. Then Bronny can go to the G League, and you guys will have this. I know you don't like the story, and we can get rid of it.
Well, how long we have to wait for this shot? Because I don't know. We got a lot going on. World Series starts.
I can't believe I just learned that Perloff was a backup Washington General.
Wait, here's
not even
thing.
Washington General. The backups to them.
Actually, along that line of shooting technical, would it be even worse if his first points were goaltending? How bad would that be? Like, what if Rudy Gobert?
An Uber's just waiting for him to take him to San Jose or wherever their G League.
Yeah, the great highlight would be him coming in for a layup and Rudy Gobert pinning it and goaltending. Yay!
Go crazy, LA.
History has been made.
855-212-4227. Bogish, thank you so much. Coming up, this one kind of came out of nowhere. We have a potential trade on the doorstep in the NFL. Weren't expecting this one. We'll get to it next. Maggie and Pearl.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Work, but that's no news, just like EJ's talking big, saying this year's the chance, but the Celtics showed up and led the dance. Jason's dunking hard, Jalen's running wild, while EJ's sitting there looking like a sad child. Peter's nowhere to be seen, it's no surprise, just like the Knicks, he's dodging, working alibis. Oh, EJ and Knicks are out of luck. Boston rolled over and let them suck. Peter's missing work, but that's no news, just like your Knicks, he keeps dodging the blues. They traded away Dante Randall's out the door, didn't sign Hartenstein, now they've wrecked the core. Carl Anthony Towns, that guy's way too soft. Knicks fans thought they'd soared, but they've already coughed. And where's Peter? Nowhere near the scene, still hiding from work like he's part of the team. Oh, EJ and Knicks just can't compete. Tatum and Brown had him beat off the beat. Peter's missing again, it won't even show. Just like the Knicks, he's a no-show.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We were surprised by this, or I'll speak for myself. I was a bit surprised by this yesterday. Our pal Diana Rossini with the big scoop, Pearl, that Cooper Kupp is on the trade block. Looks like the Rams are trying to get a second-round pick for Kupp. And then, obviously, we know Diana. She's incredibly well-sourced, credible, working for The Athletic, which is owned by the New York Times. You know, they're not going to mess around. There was a lesser-known person, I guess, in NFL circles who also had a report yesterday that Matthew Stafford might be on the trade block. I'm not sure what to make of that.
Yeah, now, here's my question is Stafford. There was a team mentioned too, right? Was it? I can't remember. Was
the Vikings.
Yeah, that makes no sense. But there are very few teams who can fit Stafford or have a need for Stafford. So it makes sense if you're tanking to trade Stafford while he's value because he won't be part of a rebuild. But I think that's impossible. Have we ever had a trade like that? Has there ever been a quarterback of that caliber traded midseason? Jimmy G, I know, was traded midseason.
Right.
But he was a backup. So this would be, I can't imagine it happening. It would be the first time in NFL history. In my mind, that something happened like that.
I mean, technically, Baker Mayfield was traded midseason, who also was a number one overall pick, but it was that he wasn't playing like a number one overall pick at the time.
Was he even starting at the time?
No, remember he had to learn the playbook on the flight to LA, and he started for the Rams. But that wasn't, if you're saying of the caliber, I'm just saying Baker, Matthew Stafford, both first number one overall picks, but they're not even close to the same thing.
I can't even remember a starting quarterback getting traded midseason. Like a guy who's starting for a team.
Carson Palmer? demanded a trade, right, out of Cincinnati. Did he start that season?
Well, I think, wasn't he sitting out when that happened?
Yeah, he might have been. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway, it'd be totally unprecedented. But I actually wanted the Cowboys to not sign Dak and go with Matthew Stafford.
You did.
I mean, Stafford's awesome.
But that ship really sailed because now Dak's the highest paid quarterback.
The problem with the Stafford issue is everybody paid their quarterback. So, there's no vacancies for good teams. Miami, that would have been a great fit.
Well, let's talk about this, though. Yeah. So the Vikings... The reason why this could be a fit is maybe the Vikings are thinking like us, when is the Sam Darnold pixie dust going to wear off? This is crazy that they're 6-0. Yeah. Is he playing over his skis, and is this about to go south? And then the second part is, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings, has a knows Matthew Stafford. It's going to be a similar system. Maybe the verbiage is easy to catch up on. And... maybe they feel like they've got a real shot here. And maybe Darnold might be hurt. I don't know. He got banged up a little bit in that Europe game.
This just seems crazy to me. That'd be awesome if Matthew Stafford throwing to Justin Jefferson. It just doesn't ring true to me.
My question about the Stafford thing is, what if he goes and plays great? You have J.J. McCarthy, who you just drafted.
Yeah,
I guess
the
would be
other
sitting in the wings, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, Stafford is 37, right, and has a history of back and other kind of problems. So maybe you think it's a 1 or 2 year deal. As
for Cooper Kupp, so this one is obviously feels a lot more probable. Cooper Kupp, who is also himself, was injured this year, has had an injury history. Where do you think makes the most sense for him to go?
He's supposed to play tomorrow night too. That's a funny thing.
Thursday Night Football.
So how much do you play him? Do you play him a lot to show him off, or do you worry that he's going to get hurt? I mean, the Chiefs obviously could use a Cooper Kupp. They could use any wide receiver, and I feel like they'd make that work. The team that I'm hearing a lot or seeing speculation that this is the Bucs because they lost Godwin and Evans. That feels like a team. Their season, I actually watched that game on Monday night. I'm like, oh my God, the Bucs were such a great story this year, but they're done without Godwin and Evans till week 11. Cooper Kupp could change that if he could stay healthy, and he also played with Liam Cohen, who's their OC.
Yep.
So Kupp would know that offense immediately.
This is the number one destination for me. It's got to be Tampa. It's got to be Tampa. And first of all, if the Rams were to trade Cooper Kupp to the Chiefs, we all get to take a shot at Sean McVay and what's his name, Les Snead. We all get to go and just punch them in the stomach. How dare you send a great player to the freaking Chiefs? Give anybody else a chance. I kid.
That's the Bills fan in you right there.
Yeah, it is 100%. And I'm speaking for every other team in the AFC as well. But here's the other part. I just think that, for me, who's the more desperate team? Tampa is in a very winnable division, right? The Chiefs are going to win this division. How desperate are they really? They're winning with defense now. So to me, Tampa's got to be the one who, if we're getting into a bidding war or something for Cooper Kupp, the last offer has to come from the Bucs, because what are you looking at the Falcons and thinking they're unbeatable? No way.
No, you're absolutely right. But bidding more, are we talking 3rd round pick?
I think they said they're looking for a second. It's a little rich. But again, if you're the Bucs and if you think Todd Bowles is going to be here for a while, that's the other thing. Because, if you're a front office, how much do you want to give this coaching staff? Say you want to make a change at the end of the year. And I'm not saying they deserve to make a change, but if you were going to, do you do this move for next year? I still think you do it.
Well, if you're the Bucs, I mean, you're a little worried because Evans can't stay healthy. Godwin obviously got hurt, and Cooper Kupp is as fragile a receiver as there is. He hasn't barely played since that incredible MVP type season in 2021. Kansas City, though, and that makes a lot of sense too, because remember they traded this exact same spot for Kadarius Toney, 3rd round pick for the Giants. Feels like they like trading 3rd or 4th round picks for veterans. I don't think they're afraid of this at all. I would not rule them out. I'm not sure the Bucs. I can't, for some reason, the Bucs don't do these kind of moves midseason, do they?
Well, the Bucs, they brought in Antonio Brown. Was that a midseason when Brady was there?
I mean,
don't know if he's.
Louise.
I know. I'm just saying. I think that Todd Bowles admitted basically, you will not recognize a lot of people on our wide receiver depth chart right now. He's like, nobody has the name of Godwin and Evans. So it's going to have to be some no-name guys are going to step up. How about adding Cooper Kupp?
They have those awesome young running backs.
I love a little Bucky Irving. It's great. But again, that's a lot to put on a rookie, no?
Well, you have Irving running, you have Rashad White catching the ball, and then that guy, what's his name, Jack Patrick or whoever the last guy, I can never remember his name. They will change their offense to be very conservative. That could work.
855-212-4227. Okay, we do have some breaking news out of the NFL. A trade has been made. It does not have to do with Cooper Kupp. Someone else just got traded. We've got all the details for you. Sit tight. Just a moment. We'll be back with everything.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
The news never stops. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Breaking news this morning in the NFL, and it's from Adam Schefter of ESPN, says, it's happening, Pearl. Titans and Chiefs are working to finalize a trade that would send DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City. The details are still being hammered out, or we'll know soon enough. But DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City, does this move the needle for you?
No, it does not. Surprisingly, I mean, obviously huge name, 32-year-old receiver. But I know the way the Chiefs work. Like, this is about one big catch in the playoffs, probably against your Buffalo Bills.
Thank you.
Kind of like Kadarius Toney came in midseason, made 3 plays in the playoffs and paid off, then left town. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is very explosive anymore. So the Chiefs are this slow, conservative offense. He kind of fits in with Juju Smith-Schuster got hurt. I think he's closer to that than DeAndre Hopkins that we know.
Yeah, I think this will definitely work out for the Chiefs, because even if it is just that one big catch, and it might be more than that, then it's probably the difference between them going to the Super Bowl or going from the divisional round to the AFC Championship game or whatever it's going to be. And he's going to now be one of those, we said it, 3rd and 8 guy. He's that guy that keeps the chains moving. It was Kelsey forever. And now I think it's going to be Kelsey if he can, get back into shape. And now it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins. I think this makes them very dangerous. You're right. Not the explosive plays, not the speed guy is worthy. But as far as
but they don't even do that.
They can burn the clock more. They can keep possessions alive more. I mean...
Well, the funny thing, too, is they spread around like crazy. Noah Gray seems like he could be the biggest target guy any given week, too. So they desperately, look who their receivers are. Like, who's the starting receiving core?
I know, but that's never really mattered for the Chiefs because Kelsey has always been eventually that guy. And I think maybe they're seeing, hey, maybe Kelsey is not going to be that dude again this year, or it's just going to take him a while to get it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their depth chart, so Smith-Schuster's out now. So is Watson, Worthy, and Sky Moore can't really play. He's fine. Sky Moore
finally. Hardman scored a big touchdown.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he plays like traditional receiver. Sky Moore finally caught a pass for the first time this year, and they took it away on a penalty. I felt so bad. He's one of the worst players. So obviously, Rashee Rice is gone. This makes all the sense in the world. What's the deal with is Hollywood Brown out for the year? I can't even remember.
Yeah. That's it.
The year. Okay. So they needed a body, mid-round pick. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, for the Chiefs, I mean, man, who trades with the Chiefs? I know the Titans aren't going anywhere. They're 1-5. They totally whiffed on Will Levis, it looks like. Not to call the kid a bust before he's even played 2 professional full seasons, but obviously they gave him a chance. It did not work out. Now they're with Mason Rudolph. That can only go so far. So now they're going to start selling off some of the pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, did the whole league got a chance? I mean, it seemed like the Titans put it out there. So I'm not going to blame them for dealing with the Chiefs. I know you as a Bills fan blame them. But why not? I'm curious, too. And the same thing happened with me and Devontae Adams. Like, why didn't more teams go into Devontae Adams? And why didn't, for example, the Bucs call about DeAndre Hopkins?
Maybe they did. Maybe Kansas City. So, Nico, you have the parameters, if you will.
Yeah, so the return is a 5th-round pick, which could become a 4th-rounder.
I mean, that's not a very steep price considering the role he may play in the Chiefs' three-peat. I mean, come on. The Chiefs will do that all day, any day.
Right, but isn't that what we kind of expected for him now?
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're asking who would have outbid them, a lot of people probably could have. That's not a very steep price, especially if you're a contender.
I don't think a lot of teams really wanted DeAndre Hopkins. Probably 3 or 4 even looked at him.
Maybe, but the Chiefs, I have no doubt they're going to use him in a cool way. It's going to make everyone pay for it. I mean, we're looking at this with the Baltimore Ravens right now. Everyone could have had a shot at Derrick Henry, and they're the ones who decide to pull the trigger.
Well,
and
Maggie,
they're the ones
Maggie, I don't know if Derrick Henry would have worked in our system.
It's too early for a Jerry impersonation.
Yeah, Nico, that was Jerry. I just rocked right there. Jerry Jones, Cowboys owner.
Yeah. Maybe warm up the vocal cords a little bit more, because you can get there with a Jerry. It's your best impression, which is saying something.
I think the opposite of warm up, the vocal cords.
You don't have enough Johnny Walker.
By the way, that's another team that could have used DeAndre Hopkins or any live body, a wide receiver. It is a little mysterious, like why are the Chiefs making this move and all the other wide receiver needy teams not doing it, which makes me wonder, like, I think the Chiefs see this, like they knew at this point they're not, I don't think they're going to target him that much. I think like you're right. He's going to make a big play in the playoffs, but I don't think the star DeAndre Hopkins exists anymore.
That's a fair question. Why weren't the Cowboys in on this?
They're not in on anybody.
Well, they're not in on it, but I'm assuming that the Titans are probably eating most of the salary here.
Bro,
we'll have to figure that out.
I think he's a free agent after the year.
Right.
Why were the Cowboys in on Devontae Adams? That one really mystified me because I think he has a lot more juice left in the tank than Hopkins.
So if you're just tuning in, the Chiefs have made an early morning trade. They have acquired DeAndre Hopkins from the Tennessee Titans. Big Dave is our pal in Kentucky. Dave, you're a freshly minted Chiefs fan. You gave up on your Cowboys. You jumped on the Chiefs bandwagon. What do you think of your team?
Bengals.
Was it Bengals?
Drink?
Oh, sorry. It was Bengals because of Kentucky. I'm sorry.
Are you drinking this early, Maggie?
It's the Johnny Walker in my drink, not Jerry's.
And listen, you should stand corrected. It's never too early for a Jerry Jones impersonation. But seriously, folks, you guys realize now that the Chiefs are the New England Patriots, right? I mean, everybody, the world realizes this, right?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're saying.
I mean, seriously, look at all the components. I mean, they really are. They're the New England Patriots. I mean, they just are. I mean, they have go back 10 years. I mean, they've mimicked the Patriots playbook. Look at all the components. Look at the QB. Look at the head coach. Look at these in-season trades for specific purposes. They're the New England Patriots. And what about, you guys talking about Matthew Stafford? There's only one logical landing place for him, right? The Tennessee Titans.
Oh, man. Why would you bring him into that?
Yeah, but I mean, no, I'm not talking about. Yeah, but the Titans, look at my boy Will Levis crapping the bed. They're going to have to get someone. He's the answer.
I know, but aren't they probably trying to tank now to draft a quarterback, Dave? Is the season salvageable at 1-5?
No.
Right.
Probably not, but I don't know. So you're not a Stafford fan?
No, I'm a big Stafford fan. I think that he would be irrelevant in Tennessee.
I mean, I think you need to get Stafford to a contender, like a window that's like right now, like Miami would be amazing for Stafford. I know they paid Tua, but I think he needs to go to a team that's ready to go, Dave.
Now, here's the one thing, though, with Dave's point about the Titans. You do look at the rest of the AFC, and who's blowing your doors off here? You know, you got the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
Pittsburgh Steelers are looking good, but that quarterback situation is still crazy. Dave's Cincinnati Bengals, still under 500, by the way. You got my Bills.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
You got the Chiefs. There's going to be a wild card that is definitely up for grabs here. I just wonder about Tennessee. They're already 0-3 in the division. Are they going to be able to make up enough ground? I don't think so.
I know, but they're going to try. I mean, they're not going to answer your questions. They're not going to tank with Matthew Stafford.
They're 1-5. They're not going to try. They're done. They're done. There's no try here.
You think they're going to try to tank the rest of the season?
Well, they just traded Hopkins. Yeah, this is over.
Well, they still have Ridley. They've still got Tyler Boyd. I know. It seems more like a tank to me, but I'm just trying to look at the numbers here to see if Dave might be onto something. Get Matthew Stafford there.
How old is he? Like 38?
37, I think.
37. So you're talking about a 2-year deal, 1 or 2 year deal, probably wherever he goes.
Well, Big Dave, how about your former team? I know if they didn't sign Dak, tell me how perfect that would have been for Stafford to come home.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs in that conversation. Hey, seriously, before I go,
yeah.
You know, we joke about Jerry all the time, but I'm sure you guys heard his comments again yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to play him in a minute.
At what point, what do you do? I mean, this is really good. And here's the thing. You know, have you ever known that person that lies so much that they believe their own lies?
Yeah. We got a few in our face. Yeah.
He is saying things that are nonsensical. I mean, seriously. And it looks like he believes them.
Wait, Dave, I have to change the subject real quick. I'm watching a movie on Netflix right now. I've seen it before, Escape at Dannemora. It's about a prison escape with Benicio del Toro and Paul Dano. You were a prison warden. Was there ever an escape under your nose? Because I'm obsessed with the idea of breaking out of jail.
Yes, absolutely. Had one, and they didn't make it out of the community. And this was at one of the prisons I worked at. It was called a minimum restricted prison. So it wasn't like a medium close or max custody prison. It had physical parameters up, you had perimeter fences and that, but it wasn't designed like a high security facility like some of the later ones that I worked in. And I actually had several attempts. Had some convicts at a high security prison that I worked at that actually over a period of 3 months, they had actually had an employee who was a maintenance worker who sneaked in hacksaw blades. They cut the chains through the grates on the soft recreation field and almost got out to the outside perimeter of the fence and couldn't get through the last grate. So, yeah, I've had several experiences like that.
Wow, Dave. So Big Dave is our friend from Kentucky who is a former warden. So I saw a little of that escape from Dannemora. Dave, does it always have to be an inside job? There always has to be someone helping you in order to, from the inside, to escape from prison, right? You can't actually have an Andy Dufresne Shawshank Redemption type thing.
Absolutely not. There's always something to do with the inside. Let me tell you this real quick story before I go. One of the scariest things I ever had happen, this was all the way back, this would have been like in 1992. I was on the special operations team. I was actually a commander at one of the largest facility in Kentucky now. Worked there. I was at that one for 8 years. We were on the other end of the state doing the specialized training competition. We get a call to come 6 hours back to our prison. A convict had gotten a loaded .22 Magnum revolver into the prison. Let me tell you how he did it. New facility, beautiful ornamental cherry trees all over the facility, all right? A couple had died. They got a landscaping company from Lexington, Kentucky to replace them. They staged the new trees in the parking lot outside. Convict's wife, when she comes in, puts the gun, loaded gun, .22 Magnum, 9 shots, into a plastic bag, sticks it in the roots of one of those trees and ties a pink ribbon on the tree. Landscaping company brings it in. Who in the hell is going to think to check the roots of a tree?
Oh, my goodness.
Convict finds the tree with the pink ribbon, gets the gun out, writes the warden a note, let me out, here's my stipulations, or someone's going to get killed, I'm going to take a hostage, la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Let me tell you, 2 days later, the convict disappeared. He was brought to the warden's office, and nobody at that facility ever heard from him again.
Oh, my goodness. Dave, wow. And
I remember the night. I remember that convict. I had him at 2 different facilities, actually. He was a lifelong criminal, originally from the state of California.
Figures.
Wow, Dave, that's a heck of a story. And what are we talking about? DeAndre Hopkins got traded this morning? Dave, thank you for the call and for entertaining us with that one. That's wild. Here's a question. That's like a reverse hostage situation, right? It's like you're inside and you're like, I have a gun and I'm going to take a hostage.
Yeah, I don't really understand this convict's plan.
It's a bad plan. You're not getting out of there.
Plan. No, wasn't great.
Maybe the wife set him up. She's like, here, take this. This will work. Sorry. Maybe not. Wow.
Yeah. Escape from Dannemora is this. You have seen it's very dark.
I saw the first episode. It's super
very
dark. I'm not big into besides Shawshank Redemption, which might be one of the best movies ever. I'm not a huge prison movie person.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many are there?
Tons.
Prison movies?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood is amazing.
I've heard that's really good.
That's an older movie. I don't think there are that many. There was a show called Prison Break.
Prison Break
Wire?
is awesome. Love Prison Break. One of my
not The Wire, Oz. Excuse me.
Oz was tough. But that
I
was a great
not watching
show. That was a really very well done show.
I'm sure it was very artistically and critically acclaimed, but I feel like I would watch things that would probably stay with me for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's fiction. The real life, if you ever read, we're in New York with Rikers Island. That is hell on earth.
I know.
Not well managed. But I'm sure Dave could tell us. Dave would be fun at a party.
Someone hid a gun in the roots of a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because that's kind of inspired, but then the rest of the plan makes no sense.
I mean.
And we never heard from that guy again. All right. I'm not asking any questions.
He is now underneath the roots of the tree.
Oh, my goodness. 855-212-4227. Not sure I gave the number there. DeAndre Hopkins gets traded to the Chiefs. Does this now solidify a three-peat for Kansas City? We got more on that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie, are you aware that midseason trades for wide receivers rarely ever work out? But I have a question. Devontae Adams goes for third round, possibly second round, not really possibly, to the Jets. Now, DeAndre Hopkins goes to Chiefs for a fifth round.
Yeah, that's breaking news this morning, by the way. Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins is getting traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, yes?
So how did my Philadelphia Eagles give up a third round pick for a guy named Jahan Dotson from the Washington Commanders who does not get on the field? And then I was reading yesterday that the Eagles might be back in on Cooper Kupp because Dotson doesn't even play. But Jahan Dotson was awesome in college at Penn State, too. I don't understand this at all. So, no, the Chiefs somehow get to give up only a fifth-round pick for a usable receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, and my Birds got screwed. And it's funny, you're a Bills fan. I don't know what they're doing at wide receiver, too. Cooper. Yeah, they got Cooper. So they got Cooper happy for the same thing as Jahan Dotson. I'm just very curious how this whole wide receiver market pans out. And what is Cooper Kupp going for? I have no idea.
No, so Cooper Kupp is on the trade market. That was a report from Diana Rossini yesterday. So this is a lot of movement here with these wide receivers. And I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a difference maker because everyone's a difference maker on the Chiefs. Everyone. You don't know where it's coming from. You mentioned Kadarius Toney. They did this a couple years ago. He was left for dead with the New York Giants. He ends up scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's a difference maker. You know, the MVSs of the world, obviously the Mecole Hardmans who scored the touchdown in overtime last year in the Super Bowl. Juju Smith-Schuster, before he got hurt, who didn't think that was going to work out for them? It always works out for them because it's Mahomes and it's Andy Reid. And I think this was an insurance policy on Kelsey. Kelsey kind of does a little bit of like DeAndre Hopkins. Kelsey's obviously a tight end and Hopkins a wide receiver, but they're physical guys who are sure-handed, who are going to be, aren't burning anybody with their speed right now.
I think he's going to play the exact Juju Smith-Schuster role because Juju got hurt. And Juju's not great anymore, but he seems to work. Like you said, everybody works in Kansas City, and he's actually an important part of that. So they need somebody to run those routes because they are incredibly thin now. We came in the season with 12 guys in their wide receiver room, and they're falling off like flies. So I think that he'll start. I mean, you're right. You have no idea who's going to make the big catch to beat your Bills in January. Could it be Justin Watson?
Could be.
Could it be? I mean, Hardman is a bit more of a gadget guy. This is a big deal, but I honestly I don't see this as I'll bet you the odds don't change.
Well, the odds were already good.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they don't get better. For me, this is more of a business as usual move for the Chiefs. I think a 32-year-old receiver, Maggie, I'm going to stick to my guns. Post-30 receivers are not really difference makers.
Listen, they're not asking for him to be the face of the franchise for the next 5 years. They need him for one stretch run here to help them win their third Super Bowl in a row. That's it. That's the commitment. And I'm always worried about the Chiefs. I'm officially more worried about.
Would you have been more or less worried? What if it was Cooper Kupp? Would that have worried you more or less than DeAndre Hopkins?
They could add Nico, and I'd be like, what are they up to? It doesn't. They could add anybody, and I would be worried.
That's funny. I would have been a lot more worried about Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, though, so
than Nico.
Than Nico, yeah.
Nico's a secret burner.
Nico Collins, yeah.
The thing is, they wish Nico Collins, but the thing about Cooper Kupp, I'm just not 100% sure he can stay healthy. So that's
compared to DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins doesn't either. But again, Hopkins isn't hurt right now. Kupp, I know they were conservative. They held him out last week, but is he going to play tomorrow night? Probably not if he gets traded.
Yeah. I mean, you know who I would want?
Who?
And he's post-30, so it's going to be better. Man, I would try and pry Tyreek Hill away from the Dolphins if I was out there.
I don't think they're doing that.
Why not?
Because I don't think the Dolphins have not waved the white flag yet. Tua's coming back this week. The big news that he's not going to wear the Guardian cap, which kind of caught some people's eye. Thought, hey, you've suffered a lot of really high-profile concussions. Maybe you want to throw this thing on. We can talk more about that later. I think the Dolphins feel like there's still a lot of season left.
Yeah.
And their coach is on the hot seat. You can't wave the white flag if you're the Dolphins.
No, you're right. That's one of those situations, too. You got to look at the state of the GM and the coach, and this is not a time to sell.
No.
But that being said, if they lose 2 more games, like, what are we doing here?
I mean, what did they say? Mike McDaniel looks like he's DJing at Live. I mean, he might be if this thing doesn't work out. Anyway, Andrew Bogusch is here with all the latest, including details on the Hopkins trade.
It's all sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code M&P, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it is lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. This news is roughly 25 minutes old. The Chiefs reportedly trading for veteran wideout DeAndre Hopkins. The Titans get back a 5th-round pick, which could become a 4th-rounder. Haven't seen the details on that condition just yet. As you guys already mentioned, this is on the heels of The Athletic saying Cooper Kupp might be available in L.A. He confirmed yesterday he's heard these rumors. The Rams said to be willing to keep paying part of his salary, hoping to get a 2nd-round pick from somebody. Meanwhile, teammate Puka Nacua is back at practice, starting a 21-day window to return him to the active roster. Nacua hasn't played since spraining his PCL in Week 1. And now, thankfully, we get to LeBron and Bronny.
Bronny James just popped off the bench. Out of bounds. Along with LeBron. History tonight. The first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game. This is all in the family.
That's Ian Eagle on TNT. He and Noah, a better father and son duo than Bron and Bronny at the moment.
Wow.
Father and son came in with 4 minutes left in the second quarter of last night's opener with the T-Wolves. Bronny stayed out there for 2 minutes and 31 seconds. The Lakers were outscored 7-2. He never played again, but that doesn't matter.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but once I stepped on the court, got up and down a couple times, it all went away. So yeah, I felt pretty good.
Bronny missed 2 shots, had 1 rebound. One of those shots was blocked by Rudy Gobert. Dad and Anthony Davis instead led the Lakers to a 110-103 win over Minnesota. LeBron scoring 26. AD had 36 with 16 boards. The Celtics tied the NBA's single-game mark with 29 threes in a 132-109 rout of the Knicks after raising their 18th banner to the rafters. Jason Tatum hit 8 of those threes. He scored 37. Karl Anthony Towns had 12 points and 7 rebounds in his Knicks debut. With Game 1 of the World Series approaching, the Dodgers now mourning the loss of Fernando Valenzuela. The 63-year-old passed away in an LA hospital yesterday. The cause of death not made public yet. Valenzuela left the team's Spanish-language broadcast booth before the playoffs started to focus on his health. 1981 was the summer of Fernando. He ended up pitching in 17 seasons, winning 171 games with 113 complete games and 31 shutouts. And on a night where every team played, the Golden Knights snapped a 3-game skid with a 6-1 rout of the Kings. The Rangers hammered the Canadiens in Montreal 7-2. Columbus took care of Toronto 6-2. And the Lightning outscored the Devils 8-5. Brandon Hagel with the hat trick in that one. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Because we are professional broadcasters, I also thought of the Ian Eagle, Noah Eagle thing. I was like, man, Noah's at least called the Super Bowl.
Yeah, was he doing the radio broadcast last night? How did that work?
It was for Nickelodeon, but I mean, the kid's like 25 years old, and he's calling every big game.
But that doesn't bother you guys if you're, say, anti-nepotism? Because I think, obviously, he's fantastic,
Yeah,
but it's still nepotism.
It bothers some people.
He definitely is so good, though. It doesn't bother me. It's like Joe Buck, Jack Buck. It's like, all right, if you're that good.
If he wasn't Ian's son, he wouldn't have these jobs right now, but he might have them eventually because he's talented enough to and I'm good at being petty and whatever. But he's good enough.
It's your superpower?
He's good at holding me off on that.
Well, the funny thing is NFL nepotism bothered a lot of people. Then all the Suns were red hot as coaches earlier this year because Clint Kubiak was killing it.
Yeah. Well,
Kyle.
We'll always have
Brian
those 2 weeks.
Callahan.
For some reason, I feel like coaching nepotism, I don't think anybody cares about as much.
It was a thing a couple years ago. People were starting to get annoyed by it. They're saying I think Brian Schottenheimer was annoying a lot of people because he kept getting a lot of jobs.
EJ, you should be annoyed by Nathaniel Hackett because there's no way he gets into this unless his dad is a coach.
His dad was a terrible
and
OC,
his dad
too.
wasn't even good.
Terrible OC for the Jets. That's crazy that we had 2 terrible OCs. Hacketts.
Only the Jets.
What are the odds of that?
Well, if you want to listen to us do math, the odds are exactly the same.
I do feel like I know, right?
They don't change.
Let's get Phil back on the line.
Yeah.
No, I do say I feel like there's a difference, Pro, between like Noah Eagle and then how people may feel about like Jack
Collinsworth.
You know, I think if the people think you're really good, I think they get over it fast. I think when Noah Eagle first came out, I think there were people that were like, "What's this?" But then they heard him say, "Oh, he's pretty good." I think you hear Jack, and you're like,
Yeah,
well,
no, you're right.
Why is he still here?
Well, I think the same thing in coaching. I think that Clint Kubiak, like nobody's like, oh man, what's this guy doing here? Because he had a great first 2 weeks.
No, I think there's something, too, about the broadcaster side of it where it's a positive that you grew up in this world, the coaching side of it. It's a positive you grew up in this world because you understand it more, the rhythms. Like, if your dad is Ian Eagle, you know a lot about the mechanics of broadcasting.
So same is true for pro athletes.
No, but see, it's not.
Well, look at Kobe and look at Steph Curry.
No. Well, those are guys who made it. But I'm saying we're going to, if you're either pro athlete, the physical gifts you have to have, the mental side of this, the skill aspect of it, you're just going to be smoked out way faster. Just because your dad's LeBron doesn't guarantee you're actually going to be good, even if you were exposed to all the good training and all of that. Bronny just might not have the physical tools to play in the NBA. It's not a crime, by the way. It's just that might be the truth.
And I totally disagree, by the way. I think if you grow up in a professional athlete household, you have a huge leg up because you've seen it.
Oh, no, you do. But at the end of the day, your physical gifts are going to have to come into play.
It's still merit-based.
I think it's the mental stuff is way more important because you grew up watching your dad work his butt off, and I think that passes along. I don't think it's the physical thing. I mean, Steph Curry,
But Curry's amazing. He's one of the best shooters ever. Obviously, something is within him.
But it's all mental. Like, I think he grew up with all the great, and Kobe too. Like, I think like their mental edge came from being the son of a professional athlete to me.
Now, that might be true, but I think at least my point in this would be that the number one reason why Bronny's in the NBA right now is because he's LeBron's kid. Nobody drafted Steph Curry or Kobe earlier than they would have taken him because of who their dads were.
Right, but
they got in because they were good.
Yeah, Steph Curry in the NCAA tournament back-to-back years, that's what got him drafted.
Right.
Not being Del Curry's dad.
It's what got him drafted. But but the
also,
overall
the
point, though,
would have drafted
I do
him
think
if that
like,
was the case.
You're a better athlete because your dad was a pro athlete. Like, if you grew up around a team, like, you get a lot of advantage. Like, you know how that's because you said it's a good thing to be a son of a famous broadcaster because you know how the industry works. The same exact thing applies to pro athletes.
I know. I just think when you're coming from the athlete side of it, that can only take you so far. At some point, you're the one, it's your body and your mind that has to take you to the next level, right? And it seems like that's a bigger delta, if you will, than the broadcaster or the coach side.
Because I hear what you're saying, but obviously Bronny physically, like, there's nothing, he's 6'3" kid. He's not like, he doesn't look like Nico. I mean, he clearly has the physical.
Nico's taking a lot of shrapnels in it.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, sorry. Bronny physically could be an NBA player. I mean, he's not like a midget. I mean, Bronny has some skills. Like, watch him shoot. It's like pretty sweet.
Right.
And he can jump through the roof.
Right now.
Yeah, he should be in college. But I'm just saying, like, it's not like his physical skills are prohibiting him from being an NBA player.
We're saying his physical skills are not developed to the point where he should be on the court with the Lakers right now. He might get there. He probably will. He seems like he's got the drive. He's obviously got the background. But right now, he's not there.
I just think you're being sort of two-faced on nepotism. Like, it's okay in some places and not okay in other places.
I think it's a little bit like porn, you know it when you see it type thing. Like, I know that Noah Eagle is really good on a broadcast.
Yeah, Joe Buck's really good. Joe Buck's really good.
Buck's really good.
But still, like, you have to recognize, like, that's such a massive advantage to have your dad be
totally.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, if you want to bring it to sports, it's like the WAR, like the wins above replacement. You know, I could put Noah Eagle. I think that he is a replacement. Like, he's going to be just as good, if not better, as a broadcaster than someone, another professional broadcaster that we bring out. He's deserves to be there.
And I think there are a lot of people, and I can speak for younger people in this industry, who still look at Noah Eagle and say, well, yes, he's great, but look at all the opportunities he's had. Look at the position he's in. Like, I think everyone can acknowledge he's very good. And I don't think that doesn't mean there isn't still envy of him. There definitely is.
Sure.
And by the way, who's another athlete? Bronny's such a unique situation. There's nobody else. There aren't really any other athletes who got drafted because of their dad. Has anybody else been powerful enough to get their
Mike
athlete?
Piazza got drafted because he was Tommy Lasorda's.
Yeah,
but in like the 62nd
round.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
I was thinking about Jeremiah Trotter's kid. Didn't he get drafted?
Yeah, that dude was a monster at Clemson.
I was going to say, he was really good. I'm just trying to think of other.
No, there's
the Eagles drafted him, right?
Bronny's a one-off. I don't think there's other guys.
And LeBron's a one-off because he's still playing. At 40 in his 22nd season.
So it's not like nepotism is really affecting the NBA draft. But I do notice a lot of, because of generation, there are a lot of guys going in the draft whose dads play professional basketball.
Totally.
First of all,
By the way, you have to have had your dad play professional basketball, it seems like, to get drafted.
Well, you have to inherit the height, too.
Definitely.
Like, NBA is like, it helps to be 6'9", and it helps if your dad is 6'9".
I think we're seeing it in football, too, now, though.
Yep.
I feel like in recent years, we're seeing more.
Yeah, a lot of
Arch
kids.
Manning. Like, I feel like we're seeing more. I think for whatever reason, and there's always been, father, son, mother, son type things, but it feels like young people now, or I guess 20 years ago, they're more invested in wanting to be in sports than I think they were when they were younger. I don't know if the money is better. I don't know what it is, but it feels like there's just a generation now where like a lot of these kids of former professional athletes are playing where that wasn't necessarily as prevalent 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Like, I don't know what changed, but I would say the money has something to do with it.
I would say too, there's more teams, there's more players. Like, it's just like it keeps on growing. It's a snowball effect. But yeah, you look at the draft, there are like 32 guys go in the first round. Probably 10 guys had dads in the NFL. I'm maybe overestimating.
Yeah, or they played high in college football. Like, that happens a lot too.
Baseball too, right? Vlad Jr., Jackson Holiday.
Blue Jays have like 7 sons, right?
It's the whole infield. 855-212-4227. George is in L.A. George, this is center of the sports universe right now. You got your Dodgers in the World Series, and it looks like the Rams are on the verge of trading Cooper Kupp and maybe Matthew Stafford.
It's a wonderful day.
Not to mention the Lakers.
Sunday. Yeah, it was wonderful on Sunday. I went to the SoFi, saw the Rams win. Then I went to Dodger Stadium and watched the Dodgers go to their World Series first time since 2020. But the thing is, first time against the Yankees in 43 years. It's going to be wonderful, man, to see the Dodgers and Yankees play again. I do believe the Dodgers will take out the Yankees in 6 games. Sorry for the bad news. But just my
Quite all right. Listen, no Yankee fans on this broadcast.
I warned you last week, be careful what you wish for with the Mets and the Dodgers bullpen. That bullpen was pretty damn good, against the Mets. And but I do believe that Cooper Kupp will be featured on Thursday night because they want to, feed him and make him look good for the trade. And there's rumors. I got friends of the Rams that McVay's getting tired of Stafford, so they could move Stafford too. And thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, George just kind of dropped that one on our laps.
Scoop George.
Yeah. McVay
does seem to grow wary of his quarterbacks because he got tired of Goff.
Been a little bit more successful with Stafford. They actually won the Super Bowl with Stafford. They lost it with Goff. I guess didn't Stafford wanted more money this offseason, right? Did that get resolved?
I think it did. I think he got a little bump, right? He definitely got a new deal, but it didn't get extended into next year. So Stafford's got to be in play. If I was a team out there for looking next year and you don't think you have the draft pick, I would definitely want to get Matthew Stafford because Matthew Stafford doesn't run, so he can play till he's 42.
I guess.
Why not? What's the difference between a 41-year-old Matthew Stafford and current Matthew Stafford?
Well, I'm just saying if I'm a team that's in that desperate need of a quarterback, don't I just want to draft one? Do I really want to be putting my eggs in the Matthew Stafford? Like, he already did his big trade and won the Super Bowl. Like, that, are you doing it again?
I don't think this year's quarterback draft class is like last year's. I think it's going to be a lot more speculative.
Maybe.
It also feels like there's a lot of tread on that tire with Stafford, though. He had the elbow surgery. He had the neck issue. Like, that would worry me, not necessarily that people his age can't be good. I don't know if he's going to be good at an old age.
855-212-4227. All right, lots to chew on this morning with the big DeAndre Hopkins trade. If you're just tuning in, just waking up, just getting going, DeAndre Hopkins has been traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. We have got more on that in a moment. Also, it was a question that had to be asked, and it was answered. We'll tell you what we mean next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
A lot. This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Credit Pack McAfee show for this one. It was a question that needed to be asked, and it was asked, and it was answered. Was Aaron Rodgers picking his nose and eating the boogers on live television?
I've actually never eaten my boogers. That's one thing I'm very proud of.
That was your first time on TV?
Not one time? What about as a child? Had to happen. Had to happen.
No, I honestly haven't.
You're missing out. Try it.
It looks.
Give it a go.
It's great.
It's a tough look to try and defend because that video it's a little incriminating.
Yeah.
But
This led the interview. Rightfully so. Get it out of the way.
I think we have to be grateful that the Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers interview exists. Like, I can't see that interview going down on 60 Minutes.
You know, Pat used to get a lot of criticism for not asking the tough follow-up questions, but with the booger thing, they were all over it.
I mean, only Pat McAfee show could do that. And the funny thing is, like, of course they did. Like, this is the kind of thing they talk about with Aaron Rodgers.
This is why we created this segment. What the bleep is Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
up
I
to
know,
today?
really.
Defending himself. He said the evidence does look incriminating. He was hoping for a side view that would exonerate him, but so far haven't seen it. So, there you go.
I mean,
Rodgers claims not to be a booger eater, but understands evidence looks bad.
they're 2-5. I mean, maybe this is a good distraction for the team.
Yeah, right. It's better than some other things that it could be. All right, on to maybe more serious things. Rodgers, can we play cut 13, please, Nico? Rodgers thinks that maybe he has diagnosed what is actually wrong with the Jets, who have lost 4 in a row, and it's because they're practicing well, but when game day comes around, they're getting tight.
I feel like we've been loose. We've been having good practices. But for whatever reason, there's been a little bit of tightness on game day, and I think that's got to start with me. I got to bring the same energy during the week and lead with that energy.
Yeah, so they're getting nervous on game day, Perloff.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I just think that there's a couple key flaws with the team. They can't stop the run. That's a big deal. I wrote my Athlon piece this week about how Rodgers is going to be awesome next year.
Right. This has always been your very big, your big grand plan for Rodgers is to leave the Jets and go to the Minnesota Vikings fully in Brett Favre's shadow.
Well, I think that, and I have a very specific reason that we learned on this show. Our buddy, Dr. Rock Positano, who I saw yesterday, he's a renowned ankle and foot doctor. He's like, Achilles often take 2 years because the athlete doesn't have confidence. And you are absolutely seeing Aaron Rodgers move without confidence. And that is the single thing that is gutting this team. You know, he hasn't run the ball in 3 games. That never happens with him. Ever since he got hit in that Broncos game, he hasn't taken off once. So that takes out a whole element of the game. They talked about that a lot in the last game. Usually on 3rd and 4, Rodgers was the threat to run. So he's lining up in shotgun with no ability to run. Yeah. That's a huge problem. And he can't make that throw on the run anymore. He had Garrett Wilson in the corner of the end zone. That's a throw he keeps in bounds in his sleep. Yeah. He just can't do it anymore. He does not trust his leg. And you see him after every series. What's the first thing he does on the sideline after picking his nose? He starts feeling his calf. It is so on his brain. And it'll be next year. He'll have so much more confidence in it. And I think he plays a 43, 44 too. And I think he's going to be much better next year. But the Jets are so short-term focused. Woody Johnson, I need to win now. I mean, I need to fire my coach. I need to sign this guy. I need to win now. If they could just be patient, this could actually work out. It's just not going to be this year.
Well, why are they not being patient? Maybe
because of Woody Johnson.
Well, maybe they're worried Rodgers is going to leave. See, that's the thing.
But they have him under contract.
Well, for one more year, but he's already taken a pay cut, and I think they moved a lot of money around.
Yeah.
I actually believe they are getting tight. I know you don't buy it. You think it's a little bit more the mechanics of the team and just sort of how they're playing.
Yeah, and the defense being disappointing too.
And the defense not being as good as they were last year. But I think they are tight, and here's a couple reasons why. One, the whole offense is predicated on Rodgers and Rodgers alone.
Yep.
So it's these hand signals and these subtle things that apparently is hard to really pick up on unless you've been playing with him for like 7 years. So that's why they brought in Davante Adams. DeAndre Hopkins got traded this morning to the Chiefs. We'll get more into that in a moment. But the hand signals and kind of feeling like you have to read his mind, I think could probably get some people tight. You're going on these crazy cadences, so the offensive line keeps jumping off sides. That's going to tick him off. And I think they're probably also worried that Rodgers is going to come in, criticize them to the media after the game. They're going to have to be answering questions for it. Like, it's when Rodgers is the sun and everything is revolving around him, he, to me, is not, I don't want to say stable, but he's somebody who, I probably am a little worried. How does he walk into the building every day? Is he mad at me today? Is he not mad? He's got this big microphone and mouthpiece at all times. He could call me out at any time. You don't think that gets people tight? Especially people like Garrett Wilson or someone like that.
One, other than Garrett Wilson, who is playing tight?
The offensive line.
The offensive line stinks.
Well, they stink, so it's not good that they're also playing tight. And if
you can play tight. They almost going to hurt their neck turning around so fast to watch the edge rushers run by them.
But again, it's a lot of false starts. It's a lot of penalties.
Those guys are 36 years old. Like they've been,
not all of them.
Well, I mean, the two
Morgan Moses
the two key
and
ones
Tyron
are
Smith.
Ancient. So like I can't imagine that Tyron Smith is tight.
No, but you notice when you watch them, it's one, they'll complete a pass, then they'll have a false start, and it'll take them back 10 yards.
That's every team in the NFL right now.
Maybe, but the other part too about Garrett Wilson, I think where you get particularly tight is he hasn't been paid yet. When you are on the verge and you're looking at all these other wide receiver contracts and you're thinking, all right, I'm going to get this payday. Then all of a sudden they bring in Mike Williams. Then they bring in Davante Adams. Then they bring in Alan Lazard. And it's all of, Mike Williams maybe not, but you keep bringing in Rodgers guys. If I'm Garrett Wilson, I'm a little worried about my money now. And now I'm tight. And now I'm thinking about that. So there's a lot here with Rodgers that he has, I think, himself to blame for why guys are playing tight.
I don't know. I'm not sure I buy that. I think it's also like you're blaming the offensive line and being tight. Like we knew, we're not idiots. We knew the offensive line was a huge risk. They had to patch together this thing with guys who were discarded from other teams. Even the Cowboys didn't want Tyron Smith anymore. Morgan Moses was actually there with Moses on the hill. So I think that we knew about these problems. The other thing about the Jets is, Rodgers, he lines up in shotgun on 3rd and short. It's killing me, Maggie. It's killing me. You have Breece Hall.
I know.
What are you doing? Like they have way too much faith. So you don't have to worry about him taking off at all anymore. And that kills them. They had so many drives in the second half against Pittsburgh where they're moving the ball, 3rd and short, trouble.
Maybe this whole booger picking thing, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers had to answer the hard-hitting questions, which is, did you pick your nose on the sideline and eat the booger? Now, he says no, but he says the evidence does look rather incriminating, so we can understand. You know how they say when you're about to give a big speech or when you get up in front of a group, what do they say? What's the trick to make yourself not nervous anymore?
Like Brady Bunch, picture everyone in underwear?
Exactly.
Right.
Picture everybody in their underwear. Maybe Rodgers needs to have a couple booger eating moments so that we can take a little of the mystique off of him in the building. He presents himself as this guy who's got all the wisdom, and I'm sure he does, and all of that, but he's a little larger than life. Everyone comes up to him after the game. Hey, I loved you as a kid. You were my favorite player, doing all the jersey swaps. He's the future Hall of Famer. Maybe a couple booger moments, a little, funny is kind of like the picturing everyone in their underwear situation. Hey, he's human, just like you and me. You don't have to be worried about him. You don't have to be tight around him. You don't have to treat him like some football god. He's a teammate. Maybe that helps.
Yeah,
Maybe
I understand.
Pick a wedgie or something.
I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, okay, that's all great. In 2 weeks, the Texans come to town. Do you know what
Good
the
luck.
Texans have? They have Will Anderson streaming on the right side. They have Danielle Hunter coming the left side. They now have Danico Autry coming up the middle. I don't care how loose you are. Your O-line is going to get mauled, and Rodgers is a sitting duck. I'd almost play Tyrod Taylor. Who's the backup? Is it Tyrod?
Tyrod.
Put him in that game. I mean, this is trouble. He is a statue back there.
Listen, I said play Tyrod Taylor in England, and I got roasted for that. People
I
are like,
know.
what, load management? I'm like, what does it matter? You're going to lose to the Vikings anyway.
I just actually saw, by the way, Jordan Love pulled some plays out of his you-know-what. But the Texans, they get after the quarterback. This could be a real problem for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, what do you think DeMeco Ryans has schemed up?
Yeah, something bad. And I don't care how lucid if you are, how relaxed you are around booger-eating quarterback. You are not going to be able to protect that guy, and the fact that he can't move is a huge problem.
All right, so you got a big trade this morning. DeAndre Hopkins is going to the Kansas City Chiefs. So we got details on that. How much scarier does that make the Chiefs? Sheesh. Also, it's Wednesday, which means the great debate is next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
My sponsor's so long that I don't have
EJ's talking big, saying this year's the chance, but the Celtics showed up and led the dance. Jason's dunking hard, Jalen's running wild, while EJ's sitting there looking like a sad child. Peter's nowhere to be seen, it's no surprise, just like the Knicks, he's dodging working alibi. Oh, EJ and Knicks are out of luck. Boston rolled over and let them suck. Peter's missing work, but that's no news. Just like your Knicks, he keeps dodging the blues. They traded away Dante Rangles out the door, didn't sign Hartenstein, now they've wrecked the core. Carl Anthony Towns, that guy's way too soft. Knicks fans thought they'd soared, but they've already coughed. And where's Peter? Nowhere near the scene, still hiding from work like he's part of the team. Oh, EJ and Knicks just can't compete. Tatum and Brown had him beat on repeat. Peter's missing again, it won't even show. Just like the Knicks, he's a no-show, you know. EJ's dreaming big, but the team's gone bust. Peter's out there too, leaving all in the dust. Knicks fans are crying, looking for a win, but Peter and his schedule, man, they're paper thin. Oh, EJ, the Knicks are breaking your heart, but Peter's breaking records, ducking from the start. They broke up the squad, and now they're down, while Peter's still coasting just like cats frown. The Knicks are falling, but one thing's true, Peter Belotti's missing, just like that W. EJ's talking big, saying this year's the chance, but the Celtics showed up and led the dance. Jason's dunking hard, Jalen's running wild, while EJ's sitting there looking like a sad child. Peter's nowhere to be seen, it's no surprise, just like the Knicks, he's dodging working alibi. Oh, EJ and Knicks are out of luck. Boston rolled over and let them suck. Peter's missing work, but that's no news. Just like your Knicks, he keeps dodging the blues. They traded away Dante Rangles out the door, didn't sign Hartenstein, now they've wrecked the core. Carl Anthony Towns, that guy's way too soft. Knicks fans thought they'd soared, but they've already coughed. And where's Peter? Nowhere near the scene, still hiding from work like he's part of the team. Oh, EJ and Knicks just can't compete. Tatum and
Nico's at the helm, but it's a sinking ship. He's running the board, but it's a constant trip. He's leading during breaks, it's a recurring theme. But the real problem's Peter, the one who's MIA, it seems. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're supposed to be working, but nobody knows. You're leaving Nico to deal with the stress, but he's not doing great, what a mess. Maggie and Perloff, they're trying to keep it tight. But Nico's mistakes are making it a long night. Oh, he's queuing up the wrong tracks, and the levels are whack. But Peter's absence is the real reason the show's going black. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're supposed to be working, but nobody knows. You're leaving Nico to deal with the stress, but he's not doing great, what a mess. Maggie and Gay are back to get the show on track. Nico's trying, but he's no Peter, that's a fact. We need a mastermind to get the board in line. But until then, it's just a hot mess all the time. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? 'cause Niners can't defend. They're letting every team score, never seems to end. From the Bay to the city, San Francisco's looking rough. But the real question is, what's being Bellotti? It's tough. All the Rex teams are out of luck, but Peter Bellotti, he's nowhere. What the heck? Forget the Uncle Sam's on YouTube, tuning in for some laughs. With a beer in his hand and his feet on the grass, he cheers for the Bogersh and Perloff with a toast to the day. 4th of July's the best, you'll hear him say. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Uncle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. Uncle of the year
goes down early in the morning. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You're just getting up, just getting your coffee, just getting going. Well, the Chiefs are light years ahead of you. They already made a trade this morning for DeAndre Hopkins of the Tennessee Titans. Perloff, the Titans are going nowhere. They're 1-5. Looks like Will Levis is not going to be the future, and now they are selling off some pieces, including DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I think I predicted you 5th-round pick. This is a fringe deal to me. This is not a huge deal. This is not a needle mover in the NFL. So Juju Smith-Schuster gets hurt. They need him to run those routes, be the 3rd and 7 guy. I can't imagine the old DeAndre Hopkins shows up.
Well, what do they need, though? First
Not
of all,
much.
Everybody gets better when they go to the Chiefs because you got the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes combination, which is fantastic. They're still actually a defense-first team, at least this iteration. And to be honest, I don't think Kelsey has really done the thing you're expecting Kelsey to do, at least so far this year, which is be that guy on 3rd down. And now they've got another guy in DeAndre Hopkins. Watch, this is going to work out phenomenally for the Chiefs. And how could you think differently? And whether it's a big catch in the divisional round or a big catch in the AFC Championship game or even Super Bowl, there's going to be a moment where we say, wow, look at what the Chiefs did bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. Look how it's paid off. And to be honest, it's just for this year. So it's not a long-term investment. You just need him for your home stretch.
Yeah, no, of course it's going to work out. But again, wasn't going to work out anyway. They were going to win they actually need warm bodies to play wide receiver. So my question really is he closer to a warm body or the star? Because he's a superstar.
Yeah, he is.
Or is he closer to the star? Who are they getting? I'm very curious.
You know, it's funny. Even Tom Brady actually brought up DeAndre Hopkins on that 49ers Chiefs game.
Yeah.
But it was because he's one of the only people, he said, who is great and doesn't practice. DeAndre Hopkins is apparently he's got this great ability to ball out without practicing. I believe that was Brady who brought that up. So anyway, you're welcome to weigh in at 855-212-4227. Does this sort of put the Chiefs over the top? You know, they're already the back-to-back champs. A lot of people picking them to win a 3rd straight Super Bowl, saying it's never happened in the history of the NFL, and now they make an aggressive move. Here's
the issue I have with the Chiefs. They play a lot of low-scoring, close games. So does this change that? He is not, they don't have the big strike offense anymore. So it feels like they're going to win in the playoffs 23-17. And this is consistent with that. This is a possession receiver. I don't think Hopkins is going to get long. So what happened with the Patriots, right? They had a lot of close playoff games.
Yeah.
They started to lose
very close Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have won by the narrowest of margins. So I feel like we're going to be in February in New Orleans. It's going to be a 3rd quarter. They're going to be down by 6. It's going to be a close game. So there's just not a lot of margin for error. When Mahomes first came to the league, they were just blitzkrieging people with their offense. I don't think this move makes them any different. There's still a slow, methodical win with defense and possession.
And it's working for them. They're undefeated this year. They're the last undefeated team. But also, once Xavier Worthy maybe gets a little bit more comfortable, the guy's still a rookie. He's got the potential to burn you. His speed is amazing. So I'm not so sure that we've seen exactly what the Chiefs are because Andy Reid is so good about keeping people on their heels. And we haven't even seen Kelsey really get into full form yet. So
yeah, no, you're right. And we haven't seen what Hopkins looks like. I don't think right now they're not a top 5 offense, though.
No, they're not. But
which is interesting because this is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Still only October.
Yeah, no, what you said it actually makes me curious. Will they become a top 5 offense? I don't even know. I don't think they want to be. I think they want to slow the game down. And geez, did you see those defensive guys coming at Brock Purdy? That is, they have totally redefined their team on the fly, much like the Patriots dynasty.
Yeah, that's true. 855-212-4227. So that's the news from this morning. We also had a moment last night that, I think, Perloff, I think you were expecting, to be honest, a little bit more. I believe you told us
I
that
stayed up for this stupid moment.
that we would get emotional about Bronny James and LeBron James taking the court together. It happened. They were not able to connect on a basket, but Bronny played about 2.5 minutes and to very little distinction.
LeBron sort of drove towards the paint, kicked it out to Bronny, open three-pointer. If that had gone in, that would have been awesome. It would have been a very, very cool highlight. It kind of hit the rim. It wasn't a bad shot at all, but we needed the basket, Maggie. That's what went wrong. That's why it wasn't emotional. I wasn't wrong that it was setting up for a potentially emotional moment. They just didn't execute.
You're right. So the Griffeys were in attendance. Yeah. Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr., and obviously their famous moments are hitting back-to-back home runs. That's not what we got last night. But the sentimentality of the accomplishment, I guess, of both of them playing together, that was the whole point.
No, we need a highlight. We need a highlight.
You're asking too much here, dude.
No, what are you talking about?
The highlight was them checking into the game together.
Well,
that's it.
We'll get a highlight on Friday. Bronny just has to score more than 2 points a game. Like, the dude never scored in preseason. We need something.
Well, he averaged 4 points in college, so I don't know what you're expecting to happen in the pros.
Just hit one 18-foot jump shot. Give me something, Maggie. I can't have him just checking in. That's the whole thing.
I'm scared to ask this question because I think it's going to delay this sentimental moment more. But Perloff, what if the basket comes and it's not an assist from LeBron?
Oh, right. What if it's Austin Reeves on the assist?
What if D'Lo misses a shot and,
well, it's funny
Bronny gets off the rebound and puts it back in?
The first play, Bronny sort of snuck in and almost had an offensive rebound putback. That'd be fine as long as LeBron's on the court. I mean, here's the thing that's really funny. It might take Bronny a long time to get a basket.
You think? I mean, he's not playing more than 2 minutes a game. They're not all of a sudden, unless it's a blowout.
Well, maybe
But then LeBron shouldn't be on the court in a blowout.
Well, he could come on in this symbolic moment. They could listen. Is it really going to hurt LeBron to play an extra 3 minutes against the Washington Wizards?
No, but I mean, again, are we waiting a month?
No, they almost got it on last night. I mean, the shot was close. They'll get it.
I think the mission accomplished here.
No,
you got Bronny drafted.
Way.
You got him in the game. It's never going to be a full Hollywood movie. Don't worry. When they do the Disney remake of this moment, someone would have hit a 3 or posterized a dunk, or all of a sudden it'll be Game 7 of the NBA Finals or whatever. The retelling, the dramatization of this is going to be way better than reality. Don't worry.
They play Friday and Saturday night. We're going to come in Monday, and there's going to be a Bronny highlight. I guarantee you that right now.
So every Wednesday, we do something called The Great Debate.
The Great Debate Series.
Now, we loosely base this on the news. So we thought this was going to be a very sentimental moment last night. But I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder. We're asking you, what is the most sentimental moment in the history of sports? The greatest of the heartstring tugs, the greatest of the goosebumps, the chills. The moment. We know it. The sentimental moment. The one that brings a tear to your eye, Perloff.
Right. You're right. Last night was not one of those moments.
When we thought up this topic.
So
actually,
just to make it clear,
this topic.
we're talking all time. Like, what's the biggest sentimental or tearjerker could be the eye of the beholder, because when your team loses a close game, that's a tearjerker. But what's the one that gets everybody? Okay, you want me to get started?
Yeah, go ahead.
This guy was a pretty good player. He was pretty consistent. I would say durable. In fact, the most durable player probably ever. And unfortunately, he got sick and gave, I think, the greatest sports speech. I think you'll know exactly who this is when we play it.
Past 2 weeks, you've been reading about a bad brag. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
It's obviously Lou Gehrig talking to Yankee Stadium. And that is incredible. A man who was just diagnosed with a fatal disease, ALS, saying, I'm the luckiest man. I'm going to get emotional right now. It's probably the greatest speech in sports history. And one of the incredible, like in the face of that, to say, I want to live the rest of my life for what it is incredible. So you're going to have your other moments, but to me, it all starts with that. And also, it's a speech that everybody can impersonate because you have to, when you're doing it, you have to do both voices. I'm the luckiest man.
Oh, the reverb?
Yeah. A lot of comedians do the reverb in the luckiest man speech. But also a great movie with Gary Cooper. So I'll go with Lou Gehrig.
It's a great moment. Today we're asking the greatest and most sentimental moments in the history of sports. Mine also comes from New York, but slightly different. And this is September 21st, 2001. So this would be 10 days after the terrorist attack of September 11th. Shea Stadium, the first sporting event in New York since those attacks. 41,000 people in attendance, including first responders and families of people who had lost loved ones in those attacks. Down 2-1 against the Braves, Mike Piazza steps to the plate.
Lopez wants it away. And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
Not just for what that moment did to uplift people in the darkest moments, but also 41,000 people in attendance. That's not lost on us because people were scared in that moment to go anywhere, do anything, let alone a sporting event. It showed the resilience of New York in the face of terror and a small symbolic way uplifting the city. Mike Piazza, that's the most sentimental moment in sports. EJ, go ahead.
Okay, so we talk about great speeches. Perloff had an amazing speech. I'm going to go with one as well. This is going to be Jim Valvano at the ESPYs, who had been obviously dealing with cancer. Coach K, Dick Vitale did an amazing job of getting him to the event, propping him up, almost carrying him to the stage. And then this man who was full of life, who we saw so frail in going up to that stage, went up and just lit up the entire room with these inspirational words.
We are starting the Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research. And its motto is, don't give up, don't ever give up. Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. And those three things are going to carry on forever. I thank you, and God bless you all.
Yeah, I mean, there was not really a dry eye in the room for this speech, and I think it really is launched a great foundation with the Jimmy V Foundation, but also just the inspiration of Jimmy V's fight with cancer and those words, don't ever give up, and how many people have been inspired by that and have beaten cancer thanks to that speech and to the inspiration of Jim Valvano. So for the work that speech did in the moment in terms of how emotional it was and then what is kind of become since then, I'm going to go with Jim Valvano's speech at the ESPYs as the most sentimental moment in sports.
That's the great debate today, the most sentimental moments. We thought we'd be putting LeBron James and Bronny on this list. It does not seem to be measuring up.
Well, how can we debate these things? These are all like, what are you going to be, post the post 9/11 homer, post a Jimmy V speech, post a Lou Gehrig speech? We can't debate these. These are all untouchable moments.
That's the rules of the great debate, Perloff. You can't
and do you
go
get the
against
Stuart
the rules.
Scott ESPN speech too?
Oh,
under the Valvano?
I thought about that too. The Stuart Scott one is important
amazing
to me and important to a lot of people, obviously, but yeah.
Most sentimental moment in sports. Nico, what is it?
So I'm going back to 2006, not long after Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. Steve Gleason was able to uplift the city.
The former St. Morton Anderson is here for most field goals. Look out! Right through! A pick block by Steve Gleason. It is scooped and scored by Curtis DeLoach. Touchdown, New Orleans!
So that one kind of hits home for me because I don't know if you guys remember Hurricane Sandy. That totally destroyed my house. So I know what it's like to go through that. So seeing Steve Gleason make that play not long after Hurricane Katrina, thought that was a really good one.
Amazing. I didn't know that, Nico. That's a shame. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, devastated. New Orleans was underwater with Katrina, Steve Gleason, and then unfortunately Steve Gleason got ALS, and now he has been an inspiration in his own way. All right, Bogusch, you get the final word here. The most inspirational and most sentimental, rather, moment in sports is what?
Well, I'm going to go along your lines. Something that I was at personally, it was the Rangers' first game post 9/11. October 7th, I think, was the date, 2001. I think it was the first indoor sporting event in the city because the Knicks season hadn't started yet. And I remember the nerves being in the building, just being inside something that big, that many people. We still were barely doing that at that point. And then a very emotional pre-game ceremony. The Rangers and the Sabres both had special jerseys on before the game. They were first responders on the ice, in the stands, and at one point, a fireman's helmet, an FDNY helmet, was given to Mark Messier, the Rangers captain, and in a complete spur-of-the-moment decision, he put the helmet on and wore it during the pre-game ceremonies.
We'd like to dedicate this season to all of you and all the heroes. Thank you.
The helmet belonged to Ray Downey. He was a chief. He was the highest-ranking fireman to die on 9/11. Literally the only time I've ever cried in an event was that moment. The national anthem beforehand. There's never been emotions like that. The intensity of that moment for me is something I will never forget.
We're asking the most sentimental moment in sports, or the greatest of the sentimental moments. That's our great debate today. Our own Andrew Kaplan in the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network gives us a good one. David Ortiz, this is our bleepin' city after the Boston Marathon bombers. That was an incredible moment as well. So you're welcome to weigh in at 855-212-4227. You're right, Perloff. This is not a traditional debate, because these are obviously very serious moments, but they're great to relive because of how sentimental they were.
It's a Wednesday morning, people. Can we have some fun here? What are we doing?
Well, we got a trade in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is on his way to the Chiefs, so we've got that for you, too.
You didn't go with DeMar Hamlin.
I love DeMar Hamlin. I love the
I'm not
story.
sure, is there one DeMar Hamlin moment?
I think the moment was probably when the first responders were
up on
saluted
stage
at the ESPYs. That was a really great moment. There were a few. There was a lot more out there.
Yeah.
I actually thought it's unfortunate because his reputation has taken a bit of a hit because of other things. But Brett Favre on Monday Night Football, when his father had passed away, that was an incredibly sentimental moment.
Oh, for sure. How about when DeMar Hamlin, who's that one who threw the pick right into his lap this year? Was that Kyler Murray?
It was Lawrence.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence, yeah. You could have had that moment just because you were psyched about it.
Yeah, I actually thought the sentimental moment was DeMar Hamlin is recovering, and it was actually Nyheim Hines against the Patriots in the first game after what happened in Cincinnati. Hines takes the kickoff and returns it to the house. And Jim Nantz has an incredible call that Tony Romo predictably steps all over. But Nantz had this incredible call where it said, "It feels like fate." Something like that. That was a great call.
And weren't there all sorts of
returned 2 kicks for touchdowns?
Number coinerences in that? Like, it was the number 3 played into like the time, the yardage.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Those were great moments. I thought you guys would accuse me of being I don't know.
Well, you did go with the Mets.
I did go with the Mets, so I guess I did go.
You had like 3 different Mets options.
You went with America.
Yeah. USA, baby.
What was the other Mets? You had some other.
No, I had actually Mariano Rivera. When he gets taken off the mound for the last time and it was Jeter and Pettit come to retrieve him, I don't care if you love the Yankees or hate the Yankees. That was an incredibly sentimental moment because Mariano breaks down like a little baby. I mean, he's crying like a baby out there for a lot longer than you may remember. So, 855-212-4227.
Yeah.
Do they have feelings in Philadelphia?
I was gonna say, what's sentimental about Philly?
We would have booed him. Dr. J's last season, Kobe's last game. I was thinking about that. That was kind of a
Kobe's last Laker game was sentimental for
No, I'm just saying that it was sentimental. Well, there are a lot of Kobe fans in Philly. I felt like there was something kind of special about Kobe's last game. I was thinking, you know what must have been really sad? Roberto Clemente died in the offseason, right?
Yes.
I can't imagine what it would have been to come back to baseball after that.
Yeah, that was such a
I
tragedy.
thought about Thurman Munson, too.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, obviously, we're not around to remember those, but those must have been... Actually, there's been some moments of people celebrating Kobe that have been really touching.
That as well. They have the new statue outside of the Crypto Center with him and Gianna.
That first night in the NBA after Kobe died was heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Breen crying on the call of the Knicks game as the game starts, players on the bench. I've never seen anything like that on the NBA court.
Yeah.
Guys not playing, right?
Yeah, Kyrie Irving didn't play. A lot of guys did not play.
I think also what we were trying to do, though, was something sentimental. It's a little more uplifting. That was still just people in their grief.
Right, yeah.
Which I'm not saying what didn't happen after 9/11 or even with, mourning what happened in Katrina, but we were going for uplifting. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots to do. See you guys on the phones. Again, we got a big trade that just went down this morning. DeAndre Hopkins goes to the Titans. We got Jerry Jones back on Dallas radio. Don't think that we didn't forget about that amazing story. The gift that keeps on giving. The owner of the Cowboys. Let's do it. Okay, Perloff and I, our new obsession, it's Prize Picks. Our whole world is all about Prize Picks. And I wish I was kidding. I'm not, because Prize Picks is the place to get real money sports action while you watch football, but you can combine it with baseball World Series. You can combine it with basketball now, Perloff, with the NBA underway. Prize Picks is the way to make daily fantasy sports accessible to all. What you do is you pick 2 or more players across any sport. Then you just pick more or less on the projection. That is it. And you could win up to 100 times your money.
Who hit on Fernando Alvarez, defender for Montreal in an MLS game last night, over 58.5 pass attempts. I love exploring fun sports with this one. Bogus, what are you laughing at? I was tracking
Not you at all.
The funny thing is, I don't even know which team he plays for, so I would brag some more. But,
You just said words you don't understand. All of them.
Yeah. Wait.
But he won. What does it matter?
Wait, actually, I want to make sure. Montreal versus Atlanta United. I'm assuming that's MLS. There was one time earlier in this.
This is how easy it is to win money.
I got to admit, sometimes you can bet on.
Even a dope can win money.
That should be the new tagline.
Well,
you can have that for free, Prize Picks.
Whatever. When I thought that guy with one name was a soccer player, turned out to be an e-sports guy. Whatever. I mean, Prize Picks has you covered. They even invented Flex Play, so you can still cash out if one of your e-game picks doesn't hit. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code MNP and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show. Great debate Wednesday. Most sentimental moment in sports history. I think you could go a wide path here. You could go with saddest moment. You can go with the moment that most moved you. It's funny, all five of us went really heavy.
Yeah.
You could do, you could have gone lighter with last night. Bronny-LeBron was supposed to be this sentimental light moment. Turned out that was much ado about nothing. But I do think we have some good options here.
Yeah, we definitely do. Quickly around the horn, I went with the Mike Piazza home run post 9/11. Perloff went with Lou Gehrig's luckiest man in the world speech. EJ went with Jim Valvano's speech, don't give up, don't ever give up. Nico went with Steve Gleason's blocked kick after Katrina. And Bogusch went with the first Ranger game post 9/11 when Mark Messier puts on the fireman, the hat of the fallen fire chief. These are all big ones. I got some good ones from the chat, which I thought about this one. D. Gordon hit a home run after Jose Fernandez had passed away. They were all wearing Jose Fernandez jerseys. D. Gordon leads off, hits a home run, guy not even known for hitting home runs. And that was a huge uplifting moment. Lots more. Let's go to Mike's in California has a good one. Mike, what's the most sentimental moment in sports?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're great.
Good. So I actually had one a quarter because Maggie, you kind of hit one for me was the moment of silence at the beginning of that game at Chase Stadium to this day still chokes me up. So I thought that's where you were going when you gave yours. But me personally, one of my all-time was I can remember as a little kid laying in bed, hearing my mom start screaming in the TV room at the living room at the house. We all go running in to hear what is Just in Time is Here. Do you believe in miracles? Come across the television show, the television when they beat the Russians in the hockey game in 1980. So for me, I will always remember that as probably one of the most to watch my mom that excited about anything sports wise was amazing enough. So that one to me just always still gives me chills even when the movie's on.
Mike, it's a great one, and the Al Michaels call is so huge. You know what's funny about that? The Lake Placid moment. I don't actually have that was at night. I always thought it was during the day. You don't hear of many people who said they were watching it live.
Because I don't think could you not?
I thought it was in the late afternoon and they re-aired it at night.
And they re-aired it, right? And that's when a lot of people saw it. It's funny because sports now is not obviously how was 1980. Like now it's streaming on 5 places. And of course it's going to be on.
There were they do re-air the Olympics, but
That's
you're
true.
saying you can see it streaming. So I guess that kind of made sense. What year was that? 80? So NBA was still on tape delay, I think. What year did that end? Was it 79 or 80? They stopped doing that?
Yeah, after Magic and Bird both got to the league.
Yeah, so it didn't feel as weird back then. I think Dan Patrick used to tell a story that people didn't know that it happened, and he was working at a radio station and saw it. And he's like, "Hey, you want to? I want to bet you on the game," or something to that effect.
Bet the Americans beat the Soviets here.
I think he was just scooping his friends and saying, like, "I got a good feeling about USA hockey here."
Isn't that why you always who does the "You're Looking Live"? Brent Musburger, obviously, right? Because that was for all the bettors who thought that maybe they were getting hoodwinked, that something could be on tape delay. Rick is in Myrtle Beach. Rick, the most sentimental moment in sports was what?
Oh, good morning. That was when President Bush threw out the first pitch after 9/11. That fastball with a little bit of movement. Just an absolute perfect strike.
Yep, it was a strike. It was also the famous moment when Derek Jeter tells President Bush, if you don't throw a strike, they're going to boo you, which kind of brings a lighthearted moment to it. Yeah, Rick, that was an all-timer. Honestly, probably the best president to be on the mound in that spot, because George Bush was a good athlete, right?
Well, his dad played. Did he play at Yale? His dad played at Yale. His dad was a real baseball player.
I guess his dad played in. George W. Bush was a cheerleader, I think, wasn't he?
Why did I think he was a cheerleader? Wasn't he a one of them was a second baseman at Yale. Am I imagining this?
The older Bush was the baseball player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
George W. I think it was a cheerleader. There's pictures of him, on the sideline.
Oh, younger George was a cheerleader. Yeah, but his dad was a real good athlete.
It definitely was a better pitch than who was the runner that threw one that just sailed into the
Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis, yeah, a little bit better job by President Bush. Hey, you guys have a good day. Love your show. Thanks.
Appreciate you, Rick.
Carl Lewis's national anthem, not Sentimental.
Yeah,
the highs and lows of Carl Lewis's career.
He's got two all-time. Both make you laugh. Maybe for levity later in the show, we should play the national anthem.
It's going so off the rails. He literally goes in the middle of it. Bob's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Bob, the most sentimental moment in sports was what?
Summer of 1976, when two guys get out of the stands at Dodger Stadium and try to light the flag on fire, and Rick Monday runs by and grabs it. The Dodger faithful give him a standing ovation, and then they all break into "God Bless America" together to sing the song.
Bob, thanks for bringing that one up. Unbelievable moment, obviously. I've only seen the replays of it, but he snatches it out of the guy's hands and starts running away with it, and everyone starts to cheer. Pretty amazing moment.
I don't know that one. I know Rick Monday with a hand up running around second base. That's like one of the most famous images in baseball history, and be it Dodgers in the World Series. Remember against his big home run? I've never knew the flag burning one.
Yeah. Big Friendly's our pal in California. Friendly, it's been a minute. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Maggie, how you doing? Daddy Cool, EJ the EP, and 411. I want to take it away from the doom and gloom. I understand 911, nothing but respect. But can we talk about the sentimental moment when the Griffey father and son back-to-back home runs in the 1990, I think it was?
That's an incredible moment. And Big Friendly, this all was inspired by LeBron and Bronny taking the court yesterday, which didn't end up probably cracking the top 50 of most sentimental moments in sports. But the fact that the Griffeys were there, it kind of set it up and made the moment even bigger.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what, to me, I felt like, even though that situation didn't go as it was supposed to, but I think it went like it was supposed to. Mm-hmm. But that moment when the Griffeys were there for LeBron and his son, to me, it was like, that just made me think of that moment, the moment I seen that on TV.
Yeah, it's an all-timer. Big Friendly, glad to hear from you. Glad you're doing well. Keep them coming, guys. The most sentimental moment in sports. Bogish has headlines for us. What's up?
Guys, it was everything we expected it to be. Fabricated, forced, and non-impactful. LeBron and Bronny James became the first father-son duo to play in the NBA at the same time, let alone in the same game. It happened when LeBron returned to the contest with 4 minutes left in the second quarter and brought Bronny with him.
I lost a lot of time because of this league and committing to this league, being on the road at times, missing a lot of his things, Bryce's things, Zuri's things. So to be able to have this moment where I'm working still and I can work alongside my son, it's one of the greatest gifts I've ever got from the man above, and I'm going to take full advantage of it.
That was LeBron post-game on TNT. Bronny left the game with 1:19 to go before halftime, did not return. The other Lakers beat the T-Wolves 110-103 on opening night in L.A. LeBron scoring 16. Anthony Davis had 36 with 16 boards. and 3 blocks. The season technically began in Boston, but nobody told the Knicks.
Tatum step back on Bridges and a 3. He's got 5 of them in the first half on opening night.
Here you go, Steve Kerr.
57-37, Boston by 20. Tatum's got 18.
Sean Grande on the play-by-play. Cedric Maxwell with the shot at Olympic coach Steve Kerr on Celtics radio.
I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah, Tatum finishing with 37 and 8 threes in the 132-109 thumping of the Knicks. Boston led by 19 after one, by 35 at one point. They had 29 threes, tying the NBA single-game mark. Tom Thibodeau assumes his Knicks will be better in their remaining 81 games.
I think you have to have the appropriate reaction to it. I think it's disappointing that we didn't play better, but I'm not disappointed in our team.
Oh, that's surprisingly level-headed for Tom Thibodeau. I would have thought he would have said we suck.
Every regular season game is like do or die for that guy. I was a little. We haven't had a repeat champion since the 18 Warriors, right? So I thought, the Celtics, they'll probably fall apart, get complacent. Then the Olympic team screwed the rest of the NBA.
Yeah.
Because the Olympic team made them mad, and now they're going to be on fire all year long.
Snub Jaylen Brown, bench Jason Tatum.
Yeah. Not only did they snub Jaylen Brown, they put one of his teammates on the team to make him even madder with Derrick White.
Yeah, two different
Drew Holiday, too.
Well, Drew was already there, but they could have brought in Jalen.
Gotcha.
And they replaced him with Derrick White.
Still, it's a long season. A lot could happen.
I just thought it was so funny. The other big story from this game is that the Celtics had 29 three-pointers. They're one away from breaking the record. That tied the record. And they missed 13 in a row.
The last 13.
How does any NBA team miss 13 three-pointers in a row? What is this, James Harden in a big game?
Yeah.
Felt a little sports karma though, right? Like because they were hunting. I mean, I know everybody hunts for threes now, but it was like crazy, and they should. I mean, I had no problem with them doing what they're doing. Knicks got embarrassed, but it's almost like when you hunt that badly for a three, you almost shouldn't make one.
No, but it's obviously not a lot of the starters. It was a lot of the backup guys, but it's like everyone turned into Carlton Banks. It was like from Fresh Prince. They couldn't hit
Northeast All-Stars.
Yeah, right. It was hitting front rim, back iron, air ball.
What about the other storyline? The Mikal Bridges changed his shot. I've never seen an NBA All-Star just randomly change his shot like that.
I wasn't sure if maybe he got hurt and had to alter it for some reason. I'm like, if Sean Marion never changed his shot, why the heck are you changing your shot?
Well, I need clarification on this from EJ because he hasn't been hidden for the last month. Like, he changed it since the I don't understand how this came out of nowhere last night.
Yeah.
My Twitter feed was like, what's happening to Mikal Bridges? Did he not play in the preseason? Did he not practice in front of a camera? Did no one see him before last night?
He didn't play well, and I guess that's why he...
Well, I actually was surprised. He is the leading corner three-point shooter in the entire NBA. So, like, nothing was broken.
Yeah.
I mean, why change it now?
It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. I mean, the only thing I could say is he shot better in the second half. Like, I don't know if maybe he can take that with him going forward, but this guy's a 38% career three-point shooter. Like, they got him because he's a very good shooter. I don't know why he would elect to change things, but it looked a little scary. It's giving me Markelle Fultz vibes, which is not what you want.
Well, he might have been shooting with the wrong hand. I mean, that's pretty bad.
That's Ben Simmons.
I thought Fultz too. Wasn't he
Fultz had he had a shoulder injury, and somehow he broke his shot.
Simmons was the wrong hand. Yeah, I mean, it might have been a little bit out with Markelle. But you guys didn't give up much for Mikal Bridges, though, right?
Only 6 first-round picks.
6 first-round picks.
I know, I saw. And by the way, unprotected. A ton of them are unprotected.
5 of them are unprotected.
It's insane.
And then you had a team basically set the record or tie the record for threes.
That was the thing about his performance, too. Not only was he so bad with shooting, he was getting fried by Jason Tatum. I mean, Tatum
might be the MVP
I think Tatum
this
saw
year.
Mikal Bridges, and what he actually saw was Steve Kerr. He was like, no, this is not Mikal Bridges. This is Steve Kerr, the guy that benched me. And I'm going to score as many points as possible. Like, if they would have played a real game, he would have had 60 last night. That's how on fire he was.
That's so funny.
I thought that. I'm like, man, they just messed around, and Jason Tatum's going to try to win MVP.
It's the darn Olympic team ruined it for everybody.
Good grief. That's funny to change your shot like that. I'm sorry, Bogues, what else?
The Chiefs and Titans still finalizing this reported trade. DeAndre Hopkins to KC, a 5th-round pick to Tennessee. It could become a 4th-rounder. The Chiefs doing this because they've lost Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster to injury so far this season. From Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin is likely done for the season, headed for surgery for Monday night's dislocated ankle. Mike Evans is expected to be out through their Week 11 bye with his hamstring injury. Dodger great Fernando Valenzuela has passed away just days before the World Series. Commissioner Rob Manfred already saying they will honor him during Game 1 Friday night at Dodger Stadium. Valenzuela was just 63 years old. He was hospitalized for undisclosed reasons. The Mexican lefty, a 6-time All-Star, and the first pitcher to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young in the same season. And finally, Diana Taurasi says she is still deliberating her playing future, either a 21st WNBA season or retirement. The future Hall of Famer knows how significant this is, so she's taking her time making up her mind. Guys, back to you.
Andrew Bogusch, thank you so much. We're asking you on this Wednesday, we do a great debate. This one's a little different. We're asking you for the most sentimental moment in sports. We thought maybe LeBron and Bronny were going to deliver a couple tears, but turns out, well, not really. Spencer's in the chat said Babe Ruth hitting a home run for the kid in the hospital. Was that?
Yeah, but is that true?
Is that real? Or was that myth?
That's the point of home run. Like, there's a lot of literature on whether that actually happened.
I mean, did he actually point? Is the other one? Did he call his shot? I mean, great Seinfeld episode with Paul O'Neill where they promise a kid in the hospital that Paul O'Neill will hit 2 home runs for the kid. Yeah. And then he hits one that has an inside the park home run, but the kid doesn't count it. It didn't leave the yard. Anyway, yeah.
I've got Pete B in my text. He says, my favorite sentimental moment when J.J. Redick was named Lakers head coach.
I mean, it was a single tear. Or was it when Dan Hurley decided to go back to UConn for the low, low price of $30 million? Yeah, that whole thing.
By the way, this poll is fascinating.
Wait, hold that thought. Yeah. We'll update the results, and we see you guys on the phones. A lot of really great ones here that I had not thought of, so this is awesome. We'll get to you guys in a moment. The most sentimental moment in sports. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's the Chiefs. All they do is when they made a big trade this morning, they acquired DeAndre Hopkins from the Tennessee Titans. So they were down a receiver or two, and now they just added a really famous one and a really good one.
Well, okay, let's power rank the guys who've been traded. Okay. You got Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, and DeAndre Hopkins, and maybe Cooper Kupp will be on the market.
Yep.
I think DeAndre Hopkins, it seems like he's the lowest on the totem pole there.
Yeah, but you know what? He might end up having the biggest impact because he's going to be playing for a team where he could have the big catch in the AFC Championship game. He could have the big catch in the Super Bowl. You never know.
Bills are going to be in the playoffs too. Amari Cooper could have a big catch, but Amari Cooper feels like he's like a different kind of weapon than DeAndre Hopkins.
Listen, I'm very excited for the Bills with Amari Cooper because I'm a fan, but is he more likely to have a big catch or a big drop? I mean, it could go either way. You get the feeling with the Chiefs, it always tends to work out for them. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
So, and listen, Devontae Adams with the Jets, let's see it get going a little bit. It's unfortunate.
2-5 is tough. I mean, they cannot afford many losses.
So yeah, that's interesting. And then we'll see about Cooper Kupp and where he should go. I'm telling you, the Bucs should be on the phone right now.
Yeah. But even with Cooper Kupp, I think the Bucs are still a little thin because they lost Evans and Godwin. It's tough. And they were doing so well.
They need it more than anybody. You lost two receivers in the same game.
The Cowboys could sure as heck use a second receiver as well. There are a lot of teams that need a little help.
I know. I'm so done, though, with the Cowboys and waiting for them to do anything. They're not doing anything.
And logic, you're done with the Steelers, too. That's another team that could use a receiver.
You know, they've been in on everybody. If you believe, the reports.
Not enough.
Well, Brandon Ayuk, they were supposedly in on. They were supposedly in on Devontae Adams. Diane Orsini told us that. I don't know if they were in on Cooper, but.
I mean, Hopkins, they should have been in on too.
Within the division, sorry.
They should have been in on DeAndre Hopkins.
Maybe they were. We're going to find out. But anyway, he does go to the Chiefs, 855-212-4227 if you want to talk about that. Yeah, Cooper Kupp also on the trade block, according to Diana Orsini. And there was another report that said Matthew Stafford was also on the trade block and that the Vikings might be interested. I mean, the Vikings are 5-1. Unless Sam Darnold might be hurt or you're seeing some real flaws with Darnold, I don't know. That one made a little less sense. 855-212-4227. Okay. We're also asking you today, what is the most sentimental moment in the history of sports? And we don't usually do things that are this serious around here, but we thought that LeBron James and Bronny were going to give us this great moment. Turns out it was a great moment.
That's a good moment.
It just didn't bring the emotion.
Way too strong a word.
Unless you're part of the James family, it didn't bring the emotion. And some of the things we're talking about today brings emotion for everybody. We're talking about Big Papi. This is our bleeping city. You could be living in California. That's a huge moment. You don't have to be living in Boston for that. You didn't have to have a sentimental tie to the Red Sox for that. That's why these transcend. Let's go to Will, who's in San Francisco. Hey, Will.
Good morning. Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're great. What's the most sentimental moment in sports?
Yeah, when you say that, Maggie, I'm not sure if it really reaches out to the entire population of the baseball world. But back in the mid '80s, there was a pitcher, Dave Trebecki, with the Giants, and he was much anticipated comeback because he had cancer in his arm or something like that.
Yep.
And they were really anticipating him coming back. It was super emotional when he did. I mean, there was a standing ovation, everything when he came back. And then just a couple of pitches into the game, he ends up breaking his arm, and everybody was just couldn't believe that happened. I mean, the anticipation for him coming back, the sentiment for him coming back, everything.
Oh, Will, we kind of lost you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Will, thank you for that one. Sorry, your phone line was breaking up a little bit. Unbelievable moment because Dave Trebecki did have like a tumor in his left arm, and he's a left-handed pitcher, and he ended up coming back and then breaking his arm. Yeah. And he's a motivational speaker for a long, long time.
That's just one of those names from the 80s that you're like, why do I know that? It's a great story.
Let's go to Daryl, who's in California. Has got a great one. Daryl, the most sentimental moment in sports is what?
Hey, how you doing, Maggie? As far as I was I was only 2 years old when this actually happened in 1968, and I think that the moment when Tommy Smith and Juan Carlos raised their fist in the Olympic Games, that was a pretty inspirational one to me. And what was cool was my daughters, they ran junior track when they were like 10 years old, and they got a chance to meet Tommy Smith at a track meet in Berkeley. So wow. I thought that was real cool. Yeah.
That's amazing, Daryl. Yeah, that moment when they both raised their fists with the gloves on, like the Black Power salute, very, very powerful. And they were vilified in some respects for it. It's only been now later in history when they've really been fully embraced.
Yeah, I think it's hard to wrap your head around how risky that was at the time, too. Nowadays, I think it would have been much different. The Olympics was huge back then. That's a chills moment. If we wanted to label this great debate, what moment gives you the chills the most, that is way up there.
No doubt. Pete is on Long Island in New York. Pete, hello. The most sentimental moment in sports was what?
I can give you a little impartial story, but why I always love you, Maggie, and I can tell you you might be out to home run, but I'll give you an insight to that. I'm a retired New York City firefighter, and I was a 9/11 first responder, and I worked on ladder 129. So we were first to the City Field. Well, Stadium at the time.
Yeah.
And they needed some uniform guys down there in color guard for that game. So I was on the field for that game in uniform.
Wow.
And the reason why it's second to none is it wasn't a city thing. It wasn't, a Katrina thing or a California thing. It was a world thing. I remember being on the field, and I am a Met fan, and I was working the morning on 9/11, so that was very sentimental to me. I was on that pile for 8 months and lost a lot of friends, and Chief Downey I knew personally. And but to get back to being on the field for that game, and when that ball left the stadium, turning around and looking up and giving the city and the world something to cheer about. We didn't have anything to cheer about for a long time. A good 2 or 3 weeks where there was nothing to be happy about, nothing to cheer about, nothing to even smile about. And that moment gave the world and firefighters and first responders something to finally smile about. And that's why, in my opinion, it's second to none.
Pete, thank you for that. Thank you for the firsthand account and for all you and your fellow firefighters and police officers, first responders did for New York at the time. Yeah, this is all these what these have in common. A lot of them is where you were in the moments, right? Like the Big Papi moment, like Piazza. Mark Messier is another one that was Bogus's pick. Lou Gehrig was your pick. We don't have the where were you moment for that, but it's one of the most well-known sports speeches.
Well, it's funny. There's a couple moments. We didn't do we weren't there. The Marshall plane going down, which is like Lou Gehrig became a movie.
Yep.
We Are Marshall. Imagine a team went down and the whole team went down and you had to build up a team like that. That is incredible. The list and the calls. There's so many of them. Feel like we don't even have enough time for all the options.
I know. Keep them coming. The most sentimental moments in sports. Spoiler. LeBron and Bronny didn't exactly crack this list, but they were on the court yesterday together.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Hey, look at that. Another wide receiver was traded in the NFL this morning. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This time it's DeAndre Hopkins who's on the move. Perloff, he heads from the Titans to the Kansas City Chiefs, as if the Chiefs needed more help in their quest for a three-peat. Now they get a three-time All-Pro who's not in his prime anymore, sure, but watch, he'll end up being the difference maker in a major game for the Chiefs. You can bookmark that.
I don't think so. I think he'll have one key catch, but I think so will Justin Watson, so will Noah Gray, so will Mecole Hardman. I think he's going to be just one of the array of seldomly used receivers. I just saw a stat. They have not thrown the ball to wide receivers at all this year.
They don't have any.
Yeah, I know. So I just don't think you're going to get the high volume. I mean, watch him go out and have 9 catches for 140 yards. But I'm just curious what the Chiefs think they're getting with DeAndre Hopkins. I'm really curious how much he has left because we have not seen what he's capable of in Tennessee. Maybe he's elite still. We're not even considering that. What if he's, say, better than the guy you got, Amari Cooper in Buffalo?
Oh, it's possible. I mean, the one similar thing is Amari Cooper had 1,000 yards receiving, over 1,000 yards receiving last year with a variety of different quarterbacks. And credit to DeAndre Hopkins, he had 1,000 yards receiving last year with Will Levis. And I don't even know who else suited up for the Titans last year.
Yeah, but he had actually literally 1,000 yards, 1,057 yards in 17 games. That's not that much in 2024.
Listen, I also know that the Chiefs are probably going to lose a game, but when do we think that's coming? So they're playing Tampa on Monday. They're at Las Vegas this week, which I'm sure they're hell-bent on, leaving there with a W because they credit that loss last Christmas Eve or Christmas, I can't remember, as being the turnaround gut check moment of their season. And Vegas is not very good. Tampa just lost their best 2 receivers. Now, Cooper Kupp is on the market, and you and I believe that he should go to Tampa, but will he? We have no idea. Denver is not very good, and that game's in Kansas City. Then they go to Buffalo, so maybe that's a loss.
Denver, by the way, could be an interesting game.
But that's in Kansas City. If it's in Denver.
If it's in, right, that'd be like the random weird game they drop. But go ahead.
I mean, at Carolina,
that's
Vegas again, the Chargers,
that could be a loss.
But that's a home game on December 8th. Then you're at Cleveland. Houston's going to be tough. At Pittsburgh, always a tough place to play. That's on Christmas. And then Denver. Is it possible they run the table?
I guess so. I mean, they beat they beat the Chargers 17-10 earlier in the year. They beat the Atlanta, who's not that great, 22-17 in a very close game. I feel like they just like being in these close games now. You know who they remind me of? Like they're like the team that Mike Tomlin wants to be. Like
different quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean they haven't. This is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They have not hit 30 in a game yet, and they're undefeated.
Defense is really good.
Yeah, and they lost Pacheco. We thought that was a problem. They lost Rashee Rice. That was a problem. They're going to lose a game because they are still slightly thin. I mean, Carson Steele is not that great. Kareem Hunt's a little washed. God, now you look at that schedule, though, you have me thinking, Meg.
I thought of it. I'm like, this is possible. 855-212-4227 if you want to talk about this trade, the Chiefs trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Now, a team that did not trade for DeAndre Hopkins and a team that's not going to be trading for Cooper Kupp either because they're not trading for anybody, and they already told you this, is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Jerry Jones re-emerges after a few days, I guess, without a microphone. Has it even been 48 hours? I don't know. But he was back on Sean and RJ, back into his regularly scheduled Tuesday morning interview, and it got really contentious last week. So how was Jerry going to be this week? Well, if we can play cut 6, please, Nico. He compared the questions he got last week from the radio host to being grilled by his wife.
The same kind of question is one that my wife might ask me of 60-something years. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I really don't know why I did that. The devil made me do it. And so my point is, those kinds of questions are pointedly toward putting you on a spot to make a certain kind of answer.
Yeah.
I've obviously been asked that Derrick Henry question almost every day.
Yeah, so he was talking about he doesn't want to relitigate, Perloff, all of the moves that led to the Cowboys not being able to sign anybody. He doesn't want to talk about all the moves they made, and he's comparing it to when his wife says, well, why did you do that? And he doesn't really have a good answer. Like, I don't think this is doing what you think it's doing, Jerry.
Yeah, the devil made me do it. What? I can't. I don't want to be in on those conversations. A couple things, too. I mean, like, I can understand an owner not wanting to answer questions again and again about personnel moves, and that's why 31 other owners don't do it. Jerry, what did you expect? Have you ever thought about not doing twice weekly interviews?
Well, that's not happening because he can't quit that.
He's like, of course, no other owner in a million years would answer one question about not trading for Derrick Henry, let alone 50 times. It's insane. The whole thing is it's a circus.
Well, the other part, too, is I understand, in some ways I do understand why Jerry Jones doesn't want to answer any more questions about Derrick Henry. I do actually get that.
Of course.
The ship has sailed.
I can't believe we're doing another Jerry Jones on Derrick Henry headline. It's unbelievable. This is still there.
Okay, but then talk to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman about it because they brought it up when the Ravens were beating the Tampa Bay Bucks last week, and they were making jokes about it on Monday Night Football. So it's not just the Dallas media that's doing this. Right. It's the national media, too. It's been kept alive by more than just Sean and RJ, who do a great job on their show.
I totally understand why they bring it up, but Jerry should shut it down because he should, it's interesting. Maybe say the GM of pick a random team that wasn't as high profile as Cowboys. Say the Atlanta Falcons made a bad offseason move. They probably did. Signing Kirk Cousins and drafting Penix. That was a controversial move. Nobody asks them about it anymore. You think Terry Fontenot's answering questions about that? Never.
Well, we never hear from Terry Fontenot.
Well, he probably is doing press conferences we just don't hear about, but he addressed it once, maybe twice. Why does Jerry have to address this 10 times? I'm just curious.
Well, can we hear cut 1, Nico? Because this is also Jerry's claim about Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry makes his home in Dallas in the offseason. By the way, so do probably 1,000 other professional athletes. But he said Derrick Henry might not be having the same success even if the Cowboys had signed him.
We're not playing very good football right now at all. And it's beyond whether or not we have Derrick Henry or not. Derrick Henry is having a career year. I don't know if he'd be having that career year in our situation. And that's really something you really do have to look at.
Right. I mean, listen, not a terrible answer from Jerry. Cowboy fans might not like this, but their offensive line has not been great. They are starting rookies at key positions. And they have a little bit of a different kind of scheme that they do offensively. Maybe Derrick Henry looks all of his age behind the Cowboys' offensive line.
Am I dreaming, or is he finally criticizing his coaching staff too?
Well, he said we're not playing very good football. I mean, is that criticism or is that just the truth?
Well, there's another quote where he says we're calling bad plays. Like he's I think, all of a sudden waking up to the fact that everyone else is like, this is not a well-coached team at this moment.
Yeah, well, yeah. And, maybe, again, I hate to turn it back on Jerry all the time, but maybe you don't leave your coach out here as a lame duck coach because, listen, they got Mike Zimmer as a defensive coordinator, and I know we all hailed that as like this is going to be a great move for them. But to be honest, how many defensive coordinators are signing up for basically what could just be 1 year? Mike Zimmer did that because he's got a history with the Cowboys, but who's signing on to take a one-way trip to the Titanic?
Well, I mean, I would hope you sign on with the confidence that you can help turn it around. That defense has been decent under Dan Quinn. Here's the thing about it. How America works. If the Cowboys beat the very, very injury-plagued Niners, then the narrative will switch on a dime, and he'll be doing victory tours next week, even though the Niners are a shell of themselves. So that's a funny thing about this. They're 3-3. And I kind of admire Jerry Jones, admitting they stink, because there are other versions of Jerry Jones would be like, well, actually, I think he said this last week. We're 3-3. Why aren't you talking about the good stuff?
Right. Yeah, he did say that. He wanted the moral victories of the good stuff.
I think the Cowboys fans should be at least slightly pleased that he realizes there's a lot of problems.
Yeah, but, it's the same thing with Jerry. Whether it's good or bad, it's all talk. That's the thing. It's okay, maybe he criticizes the coaching staff. What's he going to do about it? You're not making a change. Are you going to actually bring in somebody at the end of the season, or does Mike McCarthy still get to keep coaching? I don't know.
I mean, he has had 3 straight winning seasons. Something's going right there. So it's not like he's totally a disaster. It just sounds that way.
Last thing here about Derrick Henry. Can we hear Jerry Jones talking about agendas being connected with all the Derrick Henry talk? Cut 7, please.
That's a get in your ass type of question.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I see that coming, and that's real good.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do it several times, and of course, I keep up with what you guys say when I'm not on the show. And so when you do it several times, I know that when you're asked about a question such as one that you might have at home, why did you do that? And you do it several times, then you really know what the situation is.
Yeah, so Jerry's basically saying that they're asking him these questions to try to embarrass him, right? Again, I would say, or just being held accountable. You're saying they're, get in your butt questions or what have you, but it's also just, you're the guy who says the buck stops with me.
Yeah.
So who's going to get the questions? You're going to keep asking Mike McCarthy the questions? That doesn't make any sense. He doesn't have anything to do with the personnel as far as we know.
Yeah, but once again, Jerry could also go the route of every other GM and not say a darn thing. So you have to give him credit. I mean,
or credit or say it's stupid, because if you're worried that these questions are embarrassing you, why do you leave yourself exposed like that?
I mean, that's because the whole thing is nuts. I mean, he should not be doing this. If he doesn't want to talk about Derrick Henry, he should not be doing these weekly interviews. And he should not. And honestly, he should not be. If it was a normal situation, of course he would not be doing this. Like Rand Carthon has been making some weird moves for the Titans. He's not going on the radio once a week. These guys are very, very careful. Even I'm an Eagles fan. Howie Roseman is as high profile GM as there is. You don't hear peep from him. That's what most owners and GMs do. He's out of control. That being said, I'm telling you, watch out. If they beat the Niners, which is very possible, it's not a good version of the Niners, then everyone's going to be like, the Cowboys are fixed.
The Niners own the Cowboys.
I know. But
and the game's in San Francisco. No shot.
Did you know Kittle's hurt too? It's bad there. It's really bad.
855-212-4227 if you want to weigh in on the Cowboys. Yeah. Our great debate question today is, what's the most sentimental moment in the history of sports? The reason why we're asking is because LeBron James and Bronny James shared a court yesterday. It's the first time a father and son had ever suited up together in an NBA game, and it's probably the last. I mean, LeBron is so one of one when it comes to his longevity. I know other players like Kareem had, I think, played 20 years. I know other players have, but it's putting a lot of pressure on Deuce Tatum or something. I don't know. It feels like a once in a lifetime, once in a generation easily thing. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, just the odds of you have to have a child young, and then you also have to be good enough to play a long time in the NBA.
Or you have to be good enough to play a long time, or you have to have more power in the organization than the general manager where you can get your kid drafted.
That helps.
So we're asking you, what's the most sentimental moment in sports? We kind of thought LeBron and Bronny was going to be a little bit more of a tearjerker than it was. Having the Griffies in the house brought up some fun memories of them hitting back-to-back home runs. But to be fair, Bronny's not Ken Griffey Jr., and it's unfair to even put him in that same category.
He's not Ken Griffey Sr.
I mean, he's pretty close to Ken Griffey Jr. I'm just kidding.
In height.
I mean, like, that's not even like, of course he's not Ken Griffey Jr. Like, that's not even fair. That's such a large gap that it's not even fair to mention that about Bronny.
Then why take the pictures with him now?
Who do you think, I was going to say, who do you think put that together? Do you think the Griffeys were like, let us come be a part of this moment? Do you think LeBron called? Was it Nike? Was it the agents? Who did?
The reporting was that the Griffeys wanted to go to this. I don't know if Griffey spoke to a reporter or something, but the reporting was earlier in the week, or maybe even last week, that the Griffeys were really serious about going to the game. They ended up getting great courtside seats, so I assume then once the Lakers get involved, maybe that helped them out too. I mean, they're sitting on the baseline. So I think it sounded organic. I will say that, at least in terms of the reporting of it. Now, that could be set up too to look organic.
I think they were trying to probably the reason why you put them on the baseline is that so they're in the background of a shot. Right? I mean, that's also celebrity seats, but they could be in the background of a shot where LeBron is throwing an alley-oop to Bronny or whatever, and then you got Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know. Whatever they were going for, it didn't really land.
I just feel like, to me, the absurdity of it looked worse when they took that picture. Like, that was, like, them even shooting in pregame, what was kind of like, oh, this is kind of neat. Like, I thought, man, is Perloff going to be right about this? Am I going to move to his side? And then Ken Griffey, the Griffeys come out, and I'm like,
that ruined it for you.
This just is not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, what made Griffey so cool was that, look at this 19-year-old kid who's a phenom, and then he's playing with his dad and robbing home runs at Yankee Stadium, hitting home runs. Like, that's what made it great, was that he was awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't just, like it because, he was just some guy's son, or that he was given his spot.
It's called merit.
Right.
And Ken Griffey
But we
Jr.
didn't like Ken Griffey Jr. because he was a son of Ken Griffey. We liked him because he hit these massive towering home runs from the day he entered baseball. He was an individual star who was 50 times his dad.
You know, that's a great point, is that Ken Griffey Jr.'s story would have just been good on its own.
Oh, yeah.
It was made better because of his father, whereas Bronny's story is just about LeBron.
But I don't think Junior's popularity had anything to do with his dad, because he became a phenom with a backwards hat and the throws and the fielding. Like, he was going to be the biggest star in baseball with or without his dad.
Yeah, I don't think that his dad was part of the Big Red Machine. I mean, that's a big.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it added anything really. I think he was an individual star. Like, same with Barry. I don't think Bonds had anything to do with his dad. Like, do you ever say, "Oh, Barry Bonds was cool because his dad was in baseball"?
You know, I guess it's like a little bit more than a trivia question. It's like more than a footnote. I'll give you that.
Well, why
both of their dads?
Yeah, I mean,
both their dads were good players.
Any Ken Griffey career highlight begins with them hitting a home run together. Every single one.
Okay.
So to me, like, I think you're right. I think you're right in the sense that, like, yes, he could have been Bob Johnson, and this guy would have been the coolest MFer in the world. That's how awesome Ken Griffey was.
Yeah, he was a lefty slugger.
Yeah,
People
he
love
was
lefty
incredible.
sluggers.
But I just think that, to Maggie's point, it enhances that story. And in fact, he shares the same name too. Like, he didn't go by just Ken Griffey. He could have went by Kenny Griffey. He's literally Ken Griffey Jr. He's got the whole name. I think that does add something to it.
Well, LeBron and Bronny too.
Right, but I mean, even Bronny wanted to. He
changed it a little bit.
Because he doesn't want to be LeBron James Jr.
Yeah, I think even LeBron said, I didn't realize the pressure I was kind of putting on him to give him my name. But 855-212-4227. So we were asking, what's the most sentimental moment in sports? That was our great debate for today. It's not really debatable because everyone means something to themselves. It's not as much of a competition as some of our other great debates, like, I don't know, who's the greatest postseason baseball player?
Greatest mascot.
Yeah, it doesn't
Very
exactly fit into the greatest mascot debate, although that one did get pretty heated. This is a little more, what did it mean to you type moment. We see you guys on the phones. We want to get to everybody, and we will. Quickly, Carla is in Idaho. Carla, you've been a great friend of the show. The most sentimental moment in sports is what to you?
Well, everyone has had some really great stuff that they've said, and I really appreciate it all. But for me, I'm going really recent, and I'm looking at the Paris Olympics. The opening ceremonies caught me right away, and then all the women who are so successful throughout the Olympics, especially watching Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone win her 400-meter hurdle race with another world record, and then just the fact that women and men were able to come to the Olympics and have childcare because of the tireless work of Alice and Felix in that field. Just amazing for me.
Carla, we had not had that one yet, so thank you for that. A little bit different. What do you remember the Paris Olympics for? I can't get off of the Seine.
Was that this year's Olympics? Yeah, I don't.
Ray gun. By the way,
the Seine.
Oh, ray gun.
I mean, at Comic-Con, I know we can talk about it. The amount of ray gun cosplays was incredible to me. I did not see that coming.
Wow. So Ray Gun was the Australian breakdancer who now lives in infamy.
Yeah, I just don't know where these people. I guess the Australian uniform is just out there. I mean, these people at New York City Comic Con over the weekend were dressed with the Australia hat, Australia polo, the pants.
Yeah, it's funny. We'll probably have a lot of ray gun for Halloween.
I didn't even think about it. Now I wish I could change mine, but my whole costume arrived already, so I'm locked in.
Well, you can't send it back.
I think ray gun.
I don't think the fake cigarettes are going to go with the ray gun outfit.
I think ray gun will be a bit of a cliche. I think you'll be one of 50 ray guns walking the streets.
Well, last year I went as Deion Sanders, and I was definitely not alone. So there were a few of me. Few Deion fans. 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. The most sentimental moment in sports. We get back to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. There's
That-
many things that fascinate me about my co-host, Maggie Gray.
What I just told you is definitely not one of them.
Well, you do this thing where, and I know like you have this, not obsession, but like healthy interest in what your kid eats and the health value. And you use these apps and these phones and you're like, don't eat that. There's some weird chemical in it.
Yeah.
You can't eat anything that doesn't have a weird chemical
It's
in
all
it.
poison, guys. Just gotta forage for berries and leaves and
You
just
know what
eat
my key is?
tree bark.
My key is I have one philosophy now.
What's that?
Just avoid processed sugar. Like that's all
Good
because
luck.
because everything else.
It's in everything.
Well, yeah, but if for example we're talking about cereals, just take the cereal with the lowest sugar count. Yeah, because the more sugar in it, the more sugar you're going to want, and it goes down that road.
I know, but see, you're lucky because you're not addicted to sugar like I am. You know, I had to really wean myself off
Right.
of it in a big way.
And also try to go whole wheat and not go with whatever, like white flour.
Sure.
You don't buy that?
No, I do buy it. It's just there's way more to it than that.
There isn't really. What?
Well, I mean, not to get too much into it. I don't want to get into the McDonald's, what happened with the quarter pounders and stuff. Not that. It's just sometimes there's stuff in the food that makes it last longer. That's the stuff you want to avoid. It's like preservatives and such.
Okay. You could be right. I think it's the sugar. Just go the lowest sugar content.
We just had a discussion in the break, and I revealed that I was binging out on cornflakes last night at 9 p.m., which is the lamest of foods to binge on. If you're going to do that, just go for the cake or the cookies. I mean, bland, dry cornflakes.
Yeah, but at least
what
you're
was I
not
trying to achieve here?
Yeah, but you're not taking any sugar though. So right, because I assume cornflakes have very little sugar.
No, very little.
So you're fine.
Yeah, but they're not even a top 5 cereal, not even a top 10. Hell,
Why you have them? Because your son likes them.
because they're healthy.
That's
I couldn't grow up in the Gray household.
No, I grew up with all
Cornflakes
the stuff.
are not
My parents
healthy.
were cool. I had the Lucky Charms and all the tricks.
I mean the
and-
Maggie Gray household.
Oh no, I'm a tyrant.
Yeah, I know how much candy you eat. So.
Yeah, no, I am merciless.
Cornflakes are not good for you. They're not a healthier cereal. I cannot buy this.
Well, they're
Because
better
they-
than Frosted Flakes.
But there's not a single whole grain in the entire cornflakes.
Well, we'll have to talk about it offline.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're asking you what is the most sentimental moment in sports. It's our great debate for today. Sean is in Oregon, has one we have not mentioned yet. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, you guys. I want to touch one real quick on the father-son in sports.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't have it easy when he came into the racing, you know, and that was a big thing. I remember that.
Yeah.
And the most sentimental thing I remember is when Muhammad Ali lit the Olympic torch in Atlanta, Georgia, in 1996, and that was huge. Yeah, I remember even my dad don't get sentimental. I remember my old man, that tore him up.
You know, it's amazing, Sean. That was an incredible moment. Thank you for bringing it up because Ali at that point was obviously suffering from Parkinson's, but he was not making, as I remember, Perloff in 96, he was not making tons of public appearances at that point. So I think that's why it was such a big deal because I don't think we had seen him in a big public place for a while.
No, obviously the symbolism is huge. I've said it many times, I'm not the biggest Olympic person, but that one stands out in my memory. Like, for example, I have no idea who lit the torch in France. Messi, I imagine.
It was Nadal.
Not
was
Messi,
up
Nadal,
there.
I meant, right.
Because he was such a French Open champ, but he's from Spain. You know, Simone Biles, talk about a sentimental moment when she comes back after what happened to her to win gold this time around is incredibly sentimental. So,
I don't remember that being sentimental. But she was too good to be sentimental. But she was there, but she was still the best.
Interesting.
That's right. Like, you remember, it's not like a where were you when Simone Biles came back in the Paris Olympics. I have no memory of that.
Yeah. I've told you I had a chance to meet Muhammad Ali. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life that I don't have the photo. Someone took a photo of me and a colleague of ours who worked at Sports Illustrated, both of us sitting next to Muhammad Ali, and I said it's as close as I'll ever come, I'm sure, to meeting a head of state.
Let me check Wiki feed. Hold on.
Please check to see, was I wearing sandals that night? If I was wearing sandals, then my biggest regret can be washed away that I don't have that photo. Someone has it, not me.
It makes me wonder, like, what living athlete would be the person I'd most want to meet. Because I think when you get in this industry, you get a little jaded about, like, meeting athletes because it's your profession to talk to them. And I kind of wonder if we don't really have those modern-day icons
Jordan
anymore.
Still.
Yeah, but if you met Michael Jordan, he would openly hate you. Like, what fun would that be? Like,
he would openly hate you.
Michael Jordan has no interest in talking to you, EJ, you, Maggie, you, Bogus. Like, that would be, he's not somebody, you could meet him.
He'll roll out the red carpet for Nico.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't want to meet Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan doesn't seem like any fun to hang out with.
Oh, he's like a don't meet your heroes kind of thing?
No, he's like he's a very reserved person. Like, he is not going to enjoy meeting you.
I mean, he took a picture recently with, like, that IG workout trainer, lethal shooter, and he looked like he was having a blast. How
many tequilas in?
Yeah, Mike always looks lit. And I mean lit, not like I'm excited, lit as in like he's
having a good time.
He's had a few. So,
I don't think Mike is one who encourages people to walk up to him and hang out. Like, Charles Barkley would be joyful to meet you.
Yeah.
Mike is the opposite. I don't think that would be. It's not even don't meet your heroes. I just think, like, he does not. I don't know. Do you want to meet Michael Jordan?
I mean, if you're asking, like, who would it feel like you're meeting a head of state, I think it'd probably feel closest to Jordan, because I would think so. The other person, it would be Mike Tyson. I think a lot of people would probably want to meet Tyson. Now, that's a little dicey because of his legacy, but he's so larger than life.
I'd be so scared that I'd say the wrong thing and I'd just get a left hook to the jaw.
Yeah, you might.
I think Tyson.
It's a little scary to meet Tyson.
Yeah. No, Tyson's chilled out a lot. I think a lot of people have met Tyson.
He punched somebody on a plane recently.
Yeah, remember that happened?
He owns a weed farm.
Well, he might want to try to start smoking a different strand because he definitely punched somebody on a plane.
Guy started a Broadway play about his own life for
He's still
years.
Mike Tyson, though. You're never going to take the full Tyson out of him.
If you put him up with stage lights and makeup in a Broadway play, I think you've taken most of the Tyson out of him.
Did you watch him on the plane punch that guy? I mean, the guy was annoying him. I'm not saying anyone deserves to get punched, but he was clearly baiting him. But still, he got it in the face.
Yeah. No, but I think Tyson has changed. Like, the Hangover, like, he's softened his image, and I think he'd be a fun person to go talk to. He's a little random.
I can't help you with Muhammad Ali, Maggie, but if you want to remember the night that you hung out with J.J. Watt, Joel McHale, Joel Embiid, Jose Altuve, Colin Kaepernick, and Carlos Beltran, I have that picture for you.
That was a great night. That was
Sportsman?
a great Sportsman of the Year.
Oh, my gosh. You're on the work computer looking that up?
I did the
second time.
Yeah.
That was a great night. I introduced Maya Moore, who was getting a very big
that's awesome.
achievement. And I was backstage, and Beyonce was there. We made eye contact, and she nodded her head at me, and I basically
nice feet.
She said nice feet. I said nice feet back to her, and I had my moment with Beyonce.
This picture, it almost looks, because you're standing next to and behind Maya Moore, and you can only see a hand on her left hip. It could be your hand. It could be hers. You don't really know.
Is this on stage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was definitely way in the back. I wanted to get off stage for her to just have her full moment.
But this is the whole group on stage.
And I'm in the photo?
Yeah.
I don't have that photo.
Now you do.
Thank you, Wiki Feet.
Why?
Was I wearing sandals? I thought I was wearing boots that day.
Wait, explain to me. They're mostly athletes and you on the stage.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was doing that, by the way, until 2 hours before. That I would have worn a totally different outfit. That's just what I wore to work that day.
Oh.
I would have done everything totally different, but they told me 2 hours before that I was presenting Maya Moore with this
Does
award.
Odyssey run SI? How does that?
No. A lot of last minute with SI too. I'm like, did one of the swimsuit models cancel? I don't know why I'm up here.
I was like, it's all athletes that I know is Joel McHale's in there. So so there was some.
Joel McHale, who I've met him a couple times, and every time he tells me that I look exactly like his first girlfriend.
Wow,
and I'm like,
that's a compliment.
I hate to tell you, but I'm your love child. No, the math wouldn't work, but yeah, he always tells me that.
Wow,
That's weird to say that multiple times. I mean, I guess maybe he didn't remember.
I think he probably didn't remember.
Right, gotcha.
It's like, oh my gosh, another random woman who's here to interview me also looks like my.
I think
first girlfriend?
only a famous person can get that off. You can't be just a random dude and be like, you look like my ex-girlfriend.
No, a random person was like, you look like Flo from the Progressive ads. I was like, not doing it.
Well,
that's not what I want to hear.
Yeah, but I just mean like, I think in terms of just like Riz, like you can't, like that's not a move you make.
He wasn't making a move on me. I think I really do look like his girlfriend.
No, I'm not even necessarily saying he was making a move. I'm saying just like that's a awkward thing to have in just a casual conversation, I feel like.
He's a comedian, so he can pull it off.
That's true, right?
Yeah. No, he wasn't like a pickup line. I think I probably really do look like his first girlfriend.
But if it was a pickup line, wouldn't you take it as a compliment? Like, okay, you already liked one person that looked like me, so you're saying I got a chance?
No, because I would assume that there's some baggage there with your ex.
That I'm going to bring up bad memories?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would never want, now I'm on the male side, I would never want someone to say, oh, you look just like my ex. That sounds crazy.
You know who you look like? My parole officer. Wow, thank you. Awesome. Did we do headlines yet?
Oh, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
We didn't. I'll just close the wiki feed page. The Chiefs.
Can I have that photo?
I think you can download it for a price, although I'm sure there's a discount since it's your photo.
It's actually my foot.
While we're on the page again, I am concerned that the first 3 pictures, there's 45 total pictures. 42 of them are like actual like pictures from events, interviews, whatever. The first 3 are just a left foot on a blanket.
I would never tweet that.
I know. So like I'm nervous.
That's not my foot then.
But I don't think that is your foot. The surface area is off, but it's
Is it
weird.
gigantic? Is it large enough to be my foot?
It looks swollen, like you were showing someone the ankle you hurt. It's weird.
Oh, that did happen to me once at a kickboxing class, but I don't think I would have put it on the internet.
But that's what's making me nervous, that they like got it off your phone. Because it's under the Maggie Gray
And
header.
suddenly a whole new host of problems have presented themselves.
Like this is supposed to be Maggie's left foot.
Wait,
Anyway.
they're in my phone now?
The Chiefs are the lone unbeaten team left
delete 100 things
in the NFL, but they are 13th in scoring, and their receiver room's beat up. So KC reportedly trading for veteran receiver DeAndre Hopkins. The Titans take back a conditional 5th-round pick. Hopkins has 15 catches, 1 touchdown through 6 games, but don't forget, his QBs have been Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. Cooper Kupp said yesterday he's heard his trade rumors in L.A., but his focus now is on being the best Ram he can be. The Athletic says those Rams ready to pay part of Kupp's remaining salary for the season to secure a 2nd-round pick for him. LeBron and Bronny James took the floor together with 4 minutes left in the first half of last night's season opener in L.A. Dad had already played 13 minutes. Son was making his debut, which made them the first father-son duo to share the court in NBA history. Bronny played 2.5 minutes, then watched the Lakers beat the T-Wolves 110-103. LeBron scored 16.
To be able to have that moment, like I said, but more importantly, as cool as that was, for us to win too. This is a winning business, and we're happy we was able to get off to a good start.
Before the game, the T-Wolves agreed to a 3-year, $110 million extension with Rudy Gobert. He can opt out after 2. And Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry apparently have $940 million sitting in a bank account ready to complete their purchase of the T-Wolves and the Lynx. You'll remember this deal fell apart back in late March. Glenn Taylor saying he no longer wanted to sell the team to anybody. The two sides have an arbitration hearing on November 4th. That hearing could reinstate their agreement, and then A-Rod and Lowry would need owner approval to finalize the full purchase of the teams.
This is like when 2 heel wrestlers are fighting. It's like, who do you root for here? Glenn Taylor or A-Rod?
Tough choice.
Can I interest you in Michael Bloomberg's inclusion in the A-Rod group for this?
Oh, another
boy.
heel. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Former New York mayor.
I'm sorry. Was anyone from Spectre not available? No, I'm sorry. Bloomberg did a couple of good things.
Back on the court last night, the Celtics celebrated their 18th title one more time, then smoked the Knicks 132-109. As we mentioned this morning, they tied the NBA single game mark with 29 threes, then missed their last 13 attempts from downtown trying to make history themselves.
I'm surprised we missed every three for the last 8 minutes. We're going to be upset about that.
That's Jason Tatum on TNT after knocking down 8 threes and scoring 37. New Knicks, Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns scored 13 and 12 points in their debuts. The World Series will begin on Friday in L.A. with heavy hearts. Dodger legend Fernando Valenzuela passed away yesterday at 63. No cause of death given yet, but Valenzuela was in the hospital. He left the Dodgers' Spanish-language broadcast booth before this postseason for health reasons. Fernando Mania was born in 1981 when Valenzuela won his first 8 decisions with 5 shutouts. He won Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and the World Series that season. MLB said yesterday it prefers the Rays stay in the Tampa area while Tropicana Field is repaired from the damage from Hurricane Milton. City officials expect an assessment of that damage as soon as next week. And they called it Frozen Frenzy. All 32 NHL teams in action last night. Only 2 of the 16 games went past regulation. The Hurricanes dropped the Oilers 3-2 in overtime in Edmonton, and the Flames denied the Penguins.
Here comes Evgeny Malkin up the middle. Malkin Deeks shoots and is stopped by Dustin Wolf. Game over. And the sea of red rises.
Dive right in. It's a 4-3 shootout decision over those Penguins. The Flames are 5-0-1, the best 6-game start in franchise history.
Is that the same Evgeny Malkin from a long time ago?
Same one,
It's
yeah.
his son. They're actually suited up
I was
together.
about to say,
It's
is
a-
this-
yeah,
that
just like
guy's been
LeBron and
playing a
Bronny.
long time.
Yeah. I think they're on year 20, 19, he and Crosby. Maybe Crosby has one more year than him.
What? Sid the Kid is at his 20th NHL year?
I think they played for the Stanley Cup in like 2003 or 4.
Crosby got drafted in either 03, 04, or 05. It was like in that range, yeah.
I'm just curious. Why did you include that long that horn? That
I
was
didn't include it.
quite
The guy in the
extended.
stadium did.
Yeah, that was like, we get the point.
Well, I was trying to get to the Red Sea Rising thing.
Good call.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, dude, to lay off the horn a little bit.
20 years for Sidney Crosby.
There you go.
It's amazing. Considering how many concussions he had, that's wild. He's still playing. I mean, good for him.
That's going to be a sentimental moment when those two take a step off the ice, especially for Pittsburgh
Yeah,
fans.
Mario Lemieux, that was a sentimental.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but those guys played a long time. Even Lemieux played forever, and he had cancer.
Yep.
Yeah. His return was also.
Crosby is signed for next year, too.
You were talking about Fernando Valenzuela, who sadly passed away. I was doing a little research about him, obviously 1981, so I missed it live. But this song by ABBA that they would play for Fernando Valenzuela, I mean, not like the stadium banger, but what a cool song to have that be what you're associated with. I'm into it. It's not Metallica. It's not, AC/DC, or it's not, you're not playing Renegade, something like that. I love it's cool, though. What?
I thought of you on Friday at Citi Field because the Mets do, I'm sure other teams do this as well, they do a fan vote for karaoke. So they
Right.
give you 3 choices, like in the 4th inning, and then everybody sings the song in the 8th after you scan the QR code on a huge scoreboard, then lodge your vote. And your favorite song won.
Which of my favorites? Africa?
No,
By Toto?
your non-favorite song, your least favorite
Oh,
song.
no.
Oh, wait, which one? Are you talking about? Sweet
Journey?
Caroline or
Don't
Journey?
Stop Believin'?
Don't Stop Believin'.
I'm sad for the crowd there. Sad for you guys.
No, they loved it. We loved it. Even Jake was singing because they put the lyrics on the board, so everybody was letting it rip.
Did you vote for it? as a turncoat?
I tried to vote in general. I will not. Votes are private, but
you don't reveal your affiliation.
The QR code never actually opened to the website on my phone.
Don't worry, they mind your data.
That's fine.
Probably scanned your right eye when you walked in. It's like, oh, we got it all.
I couldn't care less about that stuff. Scan away.
You're a true man of 2024. There we go. What were we talking about? Sentimental moments in sports. That's what we're asking you for today. 855-212-4227. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on poles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. So here's to Maggie and her feet so grand. She's the funniest girl in all the land. With her giant feet, she's never beat. Maggie's big feet make life so sweet. Oh, Maggie's big feet make life so sweet.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Keep them coming on the most sentimental moment in the history of sports. We were talking about this off of LeBron and Bronny James taking the court last night together, but quite frankly, I don't think that moment necessarily lived up to it. Perloff, you were expecting something very sentimental, and I don't think you got what you wanted.
I need my highlight, Maggie, and I better get a Friday or Saturday. Here's the problem. Like, Bronny can't hit a shot.
Yeah, that's a problem when, your job is to score.
But he's a tenacious defender, 6'2", tenacious defending two-guard, which there's not really a lot of those in the NBA, so it was unique. I think he was nervous last night, obviously. I was surprised that he even hit rim on that attempted three-point shot. There was a lot of pressure on him. I think that they're going to get their highlight, and then he'll either go to the end of the bench or the G League, and it'll be fine. But we need more. We can't just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think they got their moment. You got the checking in. So. You got the moment. You got the photo with the Griffies.
So you get a notification for your phone on Friday or Saturday that Bronny scores his first NBA basket. You're not curious.
I'll probably watch it, yeah. But I don't know if that's going to mean more to me than what I already saw.
Okay.
I watched him get drafted. I watched him play in the preseason. I watched this last night. I'm good.
They should have.
I got it.
I don't know how you manufacture a guaranteed basket. You guys ever wondered how you would do if you were out on an NBA court or a WNBA court?
No.
Like, could you score? I know, EJ, you fantasize about
I've always thought about that.
Yeah, every sports fan has.
I thought the question is, could you get a basket, or do you think you could get, 5 yards?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could touch a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. That's out of...
I wouldn't be able to even stand in the box.
I would think. Me neither. Get 5 yards, like on a traditional NFL run?
Or just in
how big's the hole?
In any way.
I would tear my other patella tendon trying to do that. So that's a no for me.
Even if you know it's a fastball, you don't think you could time it up by the third? Like if you're getting a full at bat.
I can.
For 90?
95?
You know it's coming. You can't know to swing that early and at least make contact?
No.
Nico, we all didn't have such decorated baseball careers as you.
I go in the 60-mile-per-hour softball batting cage, and it's like, woo.
Really
that one came in there pretty quick. That was on top of me.
When it comes to basketball, though, I feel like I'd just be in the middle of a forest looking up at everyone. So
Nico, we wouldn't even see you out there. I'd be like, are they playing 4-on-5? Like, no, there's Nico. It's like, oh, all right, there he is.
But I felt like that last night. By the way, there was about by the third time they stopped covering Bronny. That was even more embarrassing. They just left him alone in the corner. Like, yeah, we'll give this kid a 3. They were trying to help him score, Maggie. It was actually kind of sad.
By the way, I wish there was a way to bet who would score on Bronny, because you knew Julius Randle, when he got that ball, that was going up.
You think it was Anthony Edwards?
No, I mean, you would think maybe because of matchup, but when Julius got the ball, he saw Bronny on him. I was like, oh, we know where that ball is going through the hoop. I'm surprised he tried to put him through the rim.
One Lakers draft pick against another Lakers draft pick.
Julius Randle, you knew he was trying to take advantage of that.
I kind of noticed when Bronny got stuck out on an island it seemed like he was about to get stuck on Anthony Edwards. What's the guy, the two-guard? Austin Reeves ran out of nowhere and pushed Bronny to the side so he could cover him. It was like, I'm not going to make you do this, kid.
Don't do it, kid.
Austin Reeves made a beeline. It's like, okay, if Anthony Edwards is going to embarrass anyone, it's going to be me.
Usually they say business decisions are when you, dog it. That's a business decision in a good way. It's like, I'm going to take this guy, LeBron. Don't yell at me. I'll help Bronny.
So you're telling me from a team building perspective, you don't want a two-guard who can't score and really can't defend tall wings. That's not who you're drafting, man?
Blueprint.
Well, when you put it that way. EJ, quickly, you had something for us before the end of the show.
Yeah, it was an interesting article from Kaylin Kaler, and shout out to RJ Ochoa for kind of highlighting it. She did a story on kind of these ex-Dallas Cowboy players that are now very happy to be gone, even if they're not getting the kind of pub that they used to playing for the Cowboys. So, one here's from Tony Pollard. There's more about football than X's and O's. I'm in a better place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just all around.
Wow, he's on a team that's 1-5.
Yeah, and then I mean, you had another guy, Curse, who was like talking about the issue with the team culture. You're on your way to eat lunch and you're running into tours. You're on your way to meetings and you're running into tours. We're here for football. It's our job to come in and be able to focus, whether we're in the weight room or a coach is teaching us something in the meeting room. When if you have 30 to 35 other people walking by looking through the glass while you're in meetings. Like, these guys are saying essentially that forget about all that star on the helmet. They are happy, despite some of these guys playing on terrible teams, happy to be out of Dallas now.
I mean, I get the tours coming through for sure. I mean, the star is definitely a big attraction. I would just imagine, I mean, I've taken a tour at Lambeau. I didn't see practice because it was the off season, but there's a lot of stadiums that are attractions. But I guess with the Cowboys, it's a circus.
Yeah, the Raiders, you could do tours of that stadium in Vegas. Yeah, the funny thing is, we're killing the Cowboys also. They have had winning seasons. They're doing. You can't go 12-5 3 years in a row without doing something right.
Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Nico Scarlotos, and also a shout out to Nico's dad. Thank you to Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan. We don't.
You're in a 5-minute break.